another episode of A Pinch of Everything. I'm Elizabeth from Psychology for Geeks, and as always, my brother David is joining me today. Say hi.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
And today, like David usually jokes around about how, oh yeah, I'm forced to be here, please help me. This time he's actually forced to be here because he made me stop reading One Piece because I finished reading an arc and I was like, bro, it's when it's getting interesting. There's like a plot now. I can see it. And I was like, what's happening? I need to keep reading. And then so, yeah, he's forced to be here today.
Hey, yo, what happens after Water 7? Y'all know. She doesn't, but y'all know.
Anyway, so today we're talking about Water 7, and I just finished it like 2 days ago, I think. And, schedule difficulties or whatever. Otherwise, I was ready to like start talking the moment I finished reading, because, stuff happened, and I needed to talk to someone about it.
A lot of things happen in this arc. Let's start from the beginning, though. They arrive there in their ship because they have to fix the Going Merry or the Merry Go, depending on which or what you're reading and which translation you're reading. Soon after, like once they docked, what happens?
Oh, I was just gonna go over my notes because I don't really remember things. But my first note is the train captain tells them not to get lost, and I put, "Bet David $5 Zoro's gonna get lost."
Just immediately. That's not even really a bet. He will eventually. It's not a matter of if he was gonna get lost. It was a matter of when he was gonna get lost.
He didn't actually get lost in this part though, because he stayed in the boat for a while, and then they moved to the hotel or the inn. And then he got attacked, and then like Luffy found him, so he didn't really get lost because he didn't go anywhere. So I guess it doesn't really count. But
yeah,
can I still have $5?
Nah, no, that's not how this works. You don't make money, I do.
Oh no! I want to talk about the city, like just the way that it looks, because
it
was
based
so
off
cool.
Of Florence, Italy.
Florence? No, Venice.
Venice. There you go. That's what the fuck? Where is Florence?
It's still in Italy,
Okay.
but Florence is more like the capital of like high fashion. It's still a really beautiful city. I've been there with mom once. We kind of got scammed because like there's people there that like take you on like rides like around the city, and we were like really tired, and I was like, Mom, let's just pay this guy to take us around the city. And he didn't try to scam us. He actually took us places, but we just have already been there, so it wasn't worth it because we've already been there. So we were like, oh,
sucks to suck.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, it's really cool though. Just the way that, like the water flows out of the thing is really cool. And my question to you is like, would you ever like to live in a place like that?
No, because they get tsunamis. Specifically, Water 7.
Well, like that, I didn't say that place specifically.
I think you already know, or I probably said it like a bunch of times, but the reason why the Aqua Laguna happens in Water 7 is because of Long Ring Long Land.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
The water that recedes from there goes to Water 7. Isn't that whack?
Is that a spoiler?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's just something in the SBS that Oda eventually confirms or like just mentions. And it's like everything's connected. That's kind of cool.
You know what I was thinking about the other day as I was reading? Because it's just the way that I read. Because, again, I'm not really used to reading, like, is it shoujo? No, wait. What's it called?
Shonen.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm here.
Shoujo, wait, is that?
Shoujo is the lady version of that.
Okay, no. Like action sort of base anime. I mean, manga. My brain's not working today,
Manga
guys. Because it's just a lot more.
Aniga.
A lot more. There's a lot more things happening, and like the way that I'm used to reading, it's just reading like the text to get to like the next part, I guess, of what is happening. Okay, so the way that I read is just kind of like go on to the next part, right? But then I realized that a lot of, maybe if I was reading like volume by volume as it came out, but because there's like a bunch of volumes that are already out, like I think I'm just kind of like trying to get through them. So I'm paying attention to like the cover art before each like chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you told me to, right?
Yeah,
but
the cover stories.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
But then also like I noticed that like I guess at the back of it or maybe before, I don't know, there's a page that has like Oda like wrote some answers for like
that's
fans
the
and stuff.
SBS. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, yeah, but I was like, I'm not really reading that, and I was like, should I be reading that? I feel like they would like give us more details and stuff of it.
You can if you want to. It does have like a lot of basically when those were printed out, that was around the time where it was being aired. Well, not aired. It was still like during that arc.
When it was been printing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they're not from all the way into the future. They're around that era.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was like, oh, maybe I should be reading them. And I was like, nah, I just want to know what happens next in the story. So I'm kind of like been skipping them, not even skimming them. And I was just like, come on, what's the next part?
No, yeah, you can read it at the end or not at all. It's up to you at that point. But there are some episodes of the anime that I really want you to watch.
Yeah, we'll get to that part later. Oh, okay. So, like, the one part where, like, they went to exchange the gold for, like, actual money, or what is there? The blooms? No, it's not that.
Berries.
Berries, yeah. For berries, I was like, I need Naomi to, like, negotiate for my next, like, job salary, like, on my behalf, because she was really good.
Yeah, no, dude, it is her job. She is both the treasurer and the navigator. That is both of her roles in the ship or in the crew.
Yeah, I mean, without her, I feel like the boys would be like kind of lost as to like where money's coming from and like why they run out of money and like when they need money.
They would absolutely be very, very poor.
Yeah, but I was like, if I was part of the crew, like I was just like my anxiety would be like through the roof because then like Luffy almost lost the money like when he just like threw it or whatever, and then I was like, oh, you know, that's funny or whatever. And then later Usopp actually did lose the money. And I was like,
but he got jumped.
He got jumped. Yeah, that one's different. That one's different. But Luffy was just like joking around or whatever. And then like, it was so funny because then he was sitting in the boat and he said like, why won't you let me hold it anymore? And I was like, bruh, you shouldn't have held it in the first place.
Yeah. That is absolutely the reason why he should not be trusted with anything valuable, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think I'm just gonna, like, most of my notes are like just like funny parts or whatever, some questions. But like the next one is when they meet Mr. Iceberg or whatever.
Yeah, Iceberg.
Yeah, and then I was like, he had a little mouse in his pocket, and I was like, it's so freaking cute. And I was like, I wish I had like a tiny Canelo I can just carry in my pocket. It'd be so cute.
Nah, because when you lay down to sleep, you're gonna like roll to the side and just.
Well, like he would, like he'll have his own like tiny bed, like on my bed, you know.
It'd be
like
adorable.
A crib, like a tiny little crib.
It'd be adorable until you would actually have to take care of him.
Because he's little. But like, how do people do it when they have like gerbils or something, or like little mice? Like people have like tiny pets like that.
They are both experienced, and they have gone through a lot of them. I can tell you that.
Anyway, I wish I had tiny little Canelo like that fit in my pocket. Okay, so the next one is I just thought it was like super hilarious how Iceberg guy was like, oh, let me show you my factory, and he was like, I have appointments, I don't want to go to my appointments, cancel them all. And then the lady was like, all right, fine. But then when like she went on this rant about how great he was and how busy and whatnot, but as soon as she said, oh, he's a great shipbuilder, then Luffy was like, hi, Mr. Mayor, want to be a part of my crew? And I was just like,
immediately he was like, hey, wanna fucking square up?
Yeah, he's like, he didn't even care that he had like other things and he was already like a big shot or like his own business and whatnot. He was like, hey, you want to join my crew?
What did Iceberg respond to that? Do you remember? Because I don't remember. It's been like way too long.
I don't think he responded. I think so. Like everybody started yelling at him. Like you can't just like ask him for like to do that. He's like the mayor and like he has his own company. I don't think he actually responded to that, or maybe he did. I don't know.
Probably
that part wasn't funny. The part that was funny is that he just asked.
More than likely, he declined.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, so because they were like, especially in this like part where they were talking about ships and like everyone had like, oh, this is like the person that's in charge of doing X, Y, and Z in the ship. And I was like, I have no idea what any of that means. And then I'm like, I need like a, you know how some books sometimes, especially if they have like a big world or there's like a lot of adventuring, they usually have like a map. I need Oda to draw like a ship and like label other parts for me so I can like figure out like what things are.
I'm pretty sure he has like a diagram that he's like drawn of the Going Merry.
Merry-Go.
Same thing.
No.
It literally is the same thing.
No. It's different.
Going Merry, Merry-Go. Again, depending on what you listen to. Because I've heard it in Japanese and they call it Going Merry.
Well, that's different.
Or sometimes they call it Merry-Go. Honestly.
You don't even remember. Shut up. I'm right.
It's like a 50-50. Merry, how about that?
It kind of sounds weird, just like Merry-Go. The Going Merry makes more sense.
Maybe that's why I keep saying it like that.
But like in the one, like in the manga, it's Merry-Go. The Merry-Go. Wait.
I'll be honest with you, I don't care. It's
Wait.
Merry the goat, okay?
The dead goat. It's dead now. It sank to the bottom of the ocean. The sea, whatever. Wait, do you know the parts of boats by this point, or you're just like, nah?
Starboard, port, bow, mast.
That's a big pole, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing I know.
And also there's a crow's nest.
Oh, that's the thing at the top, right?
Yeah, and there's probably more stuff, but like, I don't even know half of the... I don't know the definition of half the words I said. I just know they're ship words and should be said in ships.
Wait, do you know where they're located at least, or you're just like, no, those are ship words?
No, I know the mast. The bow of the ship is like the bottom, I believe, or like something like that. I don't know.
The flag. There's a flag, right? No, wait, it's not called a flag. What's it called?
Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
They're pirates, least. It's Jolly Roger.
Still a flag, isn't it?
No.
Wait.
Jolly Roger's
Where's
with
the
respect.
Well, how do you say it in English? The vela? Do you know what it is? The flap winding thingy?
Let's go to the next part, please.
I don't know what it's called. Anyway, moving on. The sail. Oh, there you go. That's the word in English. That's what I meant. I know that.
You didn't have to yell into my ear.
I'm sorry. Wait, what's the thing that moves the boat?
The wheel.
No, it's not called a wheel, is it?
It's the steering wheel.
It's not called a steering wheel.
It might as well be.
I know where that's at, though. I don't know what it's called. Does that count? Bonus points for me. Yay. Okay, so I want to like discuss this quote because like I think I was telling you like the other day where like I have this thing with language where like I have a lot of like thoughts and feelings and ideas in like my brain, but sometimes it's really difficult for me to, because of my ADHD brain, to like concisely state them or talk about them. So sometimes, or for me, it helps me to like read a quote and be like, yeah, this is what I was talking about, kind of thing. And then so I read this quote and I wanted to discuss it, but so in this instance, I'm going to read it to you, and then I just want to hear your thoughts on it, and then I'll share my thoughts on it. Cool?
You're right.
All right. So I think this one... Okay, so I think in like the first episode of this podcast, or like for the One Piece one, I was like, Zoro, I don't understand. Like, what's he always fighting? Blah, 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 blah. But I noticed that every time I write a quote, it's something he said.
Yeah, no, Zoro is based, okay?
Wait, what?
He's based.
What's based?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I'm old. What does it mean?
Well, if you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know. But you don't know clearly.
Anyway, the quote is, humans become stronger and more resilient each time they cross the sea. But ships are different. They accumulate stress and damage. What does this quote say to you?
I take here's the thing. Because of my specific brand of ADHD, I take it literally. I don't read too much into it sometimes, and sometimes I just take quotes like that basically literally. So for this one, it just feels like it's just wear and tear on an object rather than wear and tear on a person, because wear and tear on a person could leave scars, but they can heal, unlike ships. Ships don't heal.
That's true, but I think I wanted to go kind of like a layer deeper, because taking this quote shows sort of like a face value. It it's, to me, maybe it's because I'm so used to like everyone sort of like dismissing mental health in general, specifically in our culture, Mexican culture, that I took it as it almost sounded dismissive of the anxiety and the wear and tear, if in the human body or just the human psyche. Because he was kind of like, yeah, you know, like people, like you said, people heal and then they get over it, they move on, right? But I think there's a difference, or I wanted to talk about sort of like the difference between being, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, there's so much to it. Okay, so when someone, like a person, goes through a difficult event, some sort of trauma or heartbreak or like depression or like, you know, questioning their own sort of like life, midlife crisis, whatever you want to call it, their emotions sort of like need to be considered, taken care of in order for the person to heal, right? But a lot of the times, especially as adults, we're kind of like, well, I'm so busy with doing like everything that's adultish, I'm so busy adulting basically that I have no time to take care of this. So people just move on. And then so a lot of people are like, oh, you're super resilient because, you know, your loved one passed away and during the funeral you didn't even cry. Right? And I'm like, well, two things. One, people process that like way differently. So crying doesn't mean anything. Maybe they already cried it out. Maybe they were just trying to be strong, right? Especially I feel like maybe for men, we have this expectation of men shouldn't cry. Men should have like sort of like this sort of standard. And whenever something you go through like an adverse event, especially maybe let's say as a father, you have to be strong so your family doesn't see you suffer, or you have to be strong enough for your family to protect your family or whatever. But just like the ship, we also experience wear and tear of our emotions. Like those scars still can cause pain if we are not addressing them properly, or sometimes we don't even address them at all. Sorry, you like moved closer to the mic, so I thought maybe you had thoughts. Oh, okay.
I just moved closer to the mic because I can.
Okay. Yeah, so like I just wanted to talk about that because it's an important thing to like differentiate. Like, yeah, it's true, humans are completely resilient, but sometimes we confuse being resilient and strong as like just sweeping everything under the rug. Instead of addressing it, we ignore the problem, or we just kind of pretend it's not there. Like like we just move on, like grit our teeth and keep going, right? Like just keep going with the grind. But like that, eventually we become kind of like the merry-go, where like it experienced so much, and like no matter how many repairs Uso made on it, like it just couldn't go on anymore. And then so that happens with humans as well. Like we eventually get to the point where we can no longer go anymore because we have been carrying all the pain from like the past forever in our life that has not been addressed, and then so we can't go on anymore. And then so there was a lot of studies too that show that for, especially like in different cultures, I know specifically in like the Mexican culture, because the studies were for like Mexican Americans or whatever, whenever they experience like emotional distress in some way or another, a lot of the times, because it's been generations upon generations that have sort of not thought about or like discuss mental health isn't like a priority, it's been sort of like survival, that shows as some sort of physical pain, headaches, stomach aches. Like, so when someone is very stressed, instead of that person saying I'm really stressed right now, it will come out as like, I have a headache, or like I'm stressing out. So like your body's trying to talk to you by letting you know, hey, there's something wrong. And then so sometimes what happens is that, and I experience this myself, where like if I ignore it, if I'm like, oh, I have a headache, or like I feel kind of woozy because I'm so stressed or I'm so anxious, and I just sort of keep going, the next time the pain is worse, maybe in a different location, maybe it's a like slightly different sort of symptom, but your body's trying to tell you, hey, there's something wrong.
Your body talks to you, so you have to listen, and if you don't, it will eventually scream.
Yeah, and then so like I felt like that's kind of like what FL Zoro was like trying to get to. Like the Merry Go was like not able to like go on anymore, and like there was this thing where like all the shipbuilders were like, if we replace the bottom thingy of the ship, which is like the main part of the ship, it's no longer gonna be the same ship. And I was like, bro, yeah, it is. Like,
Well, here's the thing though. In One Piece, unlike in over here in real life, ship spirits are literal. They are real. You saw it in Skypiea, where the ship somehow repaired itself.
okay, so I think I totally blanked on that until like Usopp brought it up, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't even remember this happening. And I was
It's
like,
because it's quick. It is a quick thing that just happens, and and Usopp just happens to be the one awake at the time, because he does care about the Mary as much as everybody else on the crew. So when he went and checked it, he just saw something that felt more dreamlike than anything else, because the ship couldn't be just rebuilding itself. That sounds impossible. And so for this, once you basically replace everything on the ship, is it even the same ship anymore? It goes on to what is it, Theseus' ship?
I don't know what I don't know about
I
that.
think that's what it's called. It's in the ship of Theseus. If you replace every single broken and wore down plank in the ship, is it still the same ship? And if you were to remake the ship with the old planks of the ship, is that Theseus' ship?
Okay, so in my head, the way that I saw it was like, but the soul of the ship is the same, even though like you replaced it or whatever, like you upgraded it, the soul of the, like, it's still the same. So it's kind of like let's say our house, right? Like if we little by little start remodeling and take down walls and move things around, is it still home? Yeah, it's still home.
Well, here's the thing. Home and house are two different things. House is a thing. A home is where people are.
Well, see that exactly. So like for me, it was like, yeah, still like it's still gonna be home for them. It's still gonna be their ship. So in my head, I was like, it doesn't matter, just do it, bro.
It's like getting a brain transplant or transplanting a brain. That person will not be the same.
Will they?
No, they will
Just
not.
kidding. Anyway, moving on, because we can get stuck for this forever. We clearly do not
Because
agree.
that's how I understood what he said.
Well, I mean, yeah, like
Yeah.
that's how he meant it. But I was kind of like, nah, bruh, just move on. It's just a ship. But I also like never really had. I think I wrote it like in one of my other
Just a
notes.
ship,
like,
huh?
do you ever had like something
Disrespectful.
that you were like? I think I did wrote it. Maybe, should we talk about it now or like
Nah,
can I get
later.
to the point? Okay, later.
You ADHD riddled rat.
Okay, so I think later, I think this is when Luffy. Oh yeah. When they go on to confront the
Frankie family.
No, I was trying to like be like, I was like, come on, brain, remember, come on. Yeah, when they
Too late, I can read your mind.
shame.
Only this once.
Same brain cell. Yeah, so I wrote here like, oh, Luffy just punched. Like Luffy's punch went through the guy's armor. And then the guy, like when they saw like how strong he was, they were like, "Oh, let's talk about it." Okay, so I think this is
Wait,
my.
hold on, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
This is like sort of like my main thing where I was kind of like, in the world of One Piece, why is talking about it the second option? Like, it's never the first option.
Because the first option is filled with hubris. The second option is filled with regret.
What?
Yeah, the first option, the fight about it, is filled with hubris.
What's hubris?
They're full of themselves.
You're like, it's just more fun, and like they're so strong.
It's
So
like,
why
no,
wouldn't you
we
just
are
punch
the
way
strong ones
through?
because we've been strong this entire time. It isn't until a literal monster rolls across your streets and you're like, oh, I'm just a big fish in a small pond. Whoops.
I don't know. I feel like I'm like really kind of like a and this is kind of
Well, yeah,
like,
you're pacifistic.
Well,
so
yeah, I
you're not
know.
going to really understand
Yeah.
the jokes here.
well, I mean I understand, and like, you know, I think it's funny, but I still like, come on, people, just talk about it, communicate.
Says the therapist. No, you don't understand. In real life, we punch each other and then we say, oh, shit.
So like this kind of like leads on to like my second comment.
Immediately, I think, is that baby crying? Punch it. Make it stop.
Oh my god.
Apologize later.
Did you know that before I just my brain immediately went to like I think the time before COVID where I went with my friends to the San Diego Comic-Con. You weren't there yet, and they had this really nice, like, and I mean really nice, like Loki helmet. And for you guys out there who don't know, Loki is like my favorite all-time character, right? And like the helmet was so nice, but obviously like freaking expensive. I would never be able to afford it. And then I was like passing by it one day, and I was like telling my friends, yo, go over there, pretend you're about to faint, like pushed everything to the ground. I'll grab Loki's helmet and make a run for it. And then my friends were like, no! And I was like, come on, it's a foolproof plan. And like for like
cameras, what's that?
For the next 3 days, I just like every time I passed by, I was like, come on. I was trying to convince my friend. And it was so funny because all of them had this huge reaction, like I actually meant it. And I was like, no, man, I'm just kidding. But if you're gonna do it, like I would do it.
But if you're gonna do it, let me know so we can set up the time.
So we can prepare, yeah. Anyway, like back to One Piece. Okay. Concentrate, focus. So like Chopper got all like, because my in my head, like earlier I told you, like my next con that I go to, I want to get a Chopper stuffy because he's so adorable. Like when he's so like little and cute with his little hat, he's adorable. And then when he goes into like his like buff body, like usually he's just like pushing people around or whatever, but this time he was mad.
Oh yeah, this was one of the very few times where he was like, nah, because remember in Alabasta, him and Usopp had to fight a pair.
Yeah.
It was Miss Merry Christmas and the mole guy. I forgot his name. Jorge. And so from that experience, he was like, wow, this crew is really like ride or die. Or throughout that entire arc, he was experiencing the crew, essentially.
Yeah.
Working with them, etc. And so now that Usopp, basically the other guy that really likes hanging out with him, got fucked up, he was like, no, fuck y'all. I'm about to go eat shit.
Yeah, but this again, like, yeah, my note was kind of like he went on like not a rampage, but like he went all out and like the violence.
He put a bunch of people.
Yeah,
he was not gonna stop.
His doctor code went out the window. He was like, I'm putting you in the hospital.
He went from pharmacist to harmacist.
Yeah, and I was like, my next note was like, yeah, I'm a pacifist, but I think if like I saw like a family member like being like that beat up, I think I will at least throw one punch, just
or
one.
A rock,
or yeah, probably, you know, or like start and then start yelling, and then after like my hand is all pulsing and like bleeding and probably broken because I've never actually hit anyone and I don't know how to throw a punch, then start yelling. But yeah,
and then after that it's like, wait, let's talk about it.
Oh, yeah, and like my next thing was just Galila. It's such a good name.
It is such a good name, isn't it?
It just rolls off the tongue. Yeah, and then I was like, I didn't really get attached to like any of the characters that like were part of the Galila, but I was like, when he was being destroyed, I was like, no, the Galila. And I was like, they need to use the name for something else because it's such a good name. That name needs to live on.
They need to rebrand, but keep the name.
Yeah.
Especially because all of their motherfuckers traded hats.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to take a long time for us to like get to this point, but it's actually here. I think I was so engrossed in the story this time around that I didn't actually like write a lot of notes, because usually I would just be like, oh, that's funny, and then I like write it down, and now this time I don't really have a lot of like funny thingies.
Yeah, because like it starts to get, okay, here's the thing. Well, there's nothing. In what part of the Water 7 arc did it start pulling you in?
Let's see. Oh, I think it was probably after Usopp lost the money, because then it just kind of like, I don't know, it
suddenly felt real.
No, I think it was because, you know, in every story, like whenever you're telling a story, it's kind of like the setup and the preparing you or whatever. So it's kind of like this roller coaster that goes up and then down, right? And then so like I felt like all the other arcs were just kind of like set up, and then like it just went downhill really fast, and I was like, wait a minute, what?
Like, whoa, this fast went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, like that escalated quickly for me, like after that, because then I was like, yo, but I'm like super broke right now, so I was like, yo, you need to find that money right now. And then so like
find them all.
And then at first it was like all about like them finding the money and then like the people, and then it didn't become about the thing, and then it became about this conspiracy, and then I was like, what the heck? That's why I was like, man, we need to like record these episodes so I can keep reading. Like, and before all the other arcs, yeah, I read them and they're like, oh, you know, it was fun or whatever, but I was like, David had to be like, you're reading One Piece? And I was like, I'm reading fan fiction, or like, I'm reading manhwa, like I don't want to read One Piece. And now I'm like, come on, David, I have to read. And like I didn't want, like, if I can continue reading for like the next arc or whatever, I felt like that was gonna tint my experience, or in a way, like, cause it was gonna give me a lot more information, and I was like, no, I want to do like arc by arc, and then I think eventually, like, once I finish, I want to like go back and just hear us talk about it, or I guess hear myself talk about it.
Have thoughts change like towards the end of the season? Maybe we have a halfway point, because there is a time skip in a couple of arcs.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
from then we can like listen in and have like an episode or something. Again, this is all workshop. Nothing is concrete. We have ADHD.
No, like I remember, like I was telling you earlier today, I was like, but we're YouTubers now, David. We need to like create content, so we're gonna go, like, you know how like there's like YouTubers that they like just sit there and like watch whatever like previous thing and then they just comment on it. That's gonna be us. Like after we finish like recording everything for One Piece, we're just gonna start from the beginning again, and we're just gonna comment on the comments that we made.
I think it'll be funny to have like a really, really dry take, or like a dry personality instead of like how we are right now. It's like, oh yeah.
No, you know what would be
Some
funny?
monotone.
If we get someone who's never seen One Piece react to our comments and talk about it.
So
Like,
what the fuck are you
just
talking
like-
about?
Yeah.
Make them
These are so
watch the
dumb.
videos first and then let them read the arcs.
Yeah. We're gonna find like, so this time is me
Oh wait, no,
reacting.
there's too
like-
many spoilers.
Is it?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, not if we. Well, I don't know.
I'm not
like,
gonna re-edit.
'cause
No,
I-
you're crazy.
No, because like that reminded me of like, but I think it depends. You know how I'm always like, bro, how did you remember all these details? And you're like, I watched so many videos and stuff. And then I'm like thinking back to like all my other fandoms, because like recently I've been like super into like Good Omens, and then I'm like, yeah, I understand, because like now I'm like watching all the TikToks and all the like the theories of Good Omens, and then I'm like, there's not enough, I need fan fiction stat. And then like I remember like back in the day, what was it? The Untamed. I watched it with my friends. You have not seen it, I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. So I actually did that where I
believe
like where like I watched it first on Netflix and then I read it. And so like, yeah, I guess that is possible. We can find someone out there who, maybe someone who's already seen it all, and then we force them to read it and then be like, what was your experience like? And then we'll go arc by arc, and that's how we're gonna make tons of content for One Piece.
Too bad none of what you just said is gonna make it in the final cut.
No, yeah, it is. It's so interesting. I'm interesting. My thoughts.
No, it's just gonna be me.
My thoughts matter. No, like the video's not gonna make any sense, but it's just gonna be you.
I'm gonna shuffle everything.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. Oh shoot! I just realized we went off on this rant. Anyway,
What do you mean,
back- It was me. Okay, so the crew not wanting to leave the merry-go, it's kind of like having sort of like an emotional support from like
House.
objects.
It's an emotional support house.
Yeah, I mean basically, yeah. And then so, wait, what? Hold on, let me read this.
I want to drive a house one of these days.
Okay, so my comment or my quote, words are not coming out. Anyway, so I said, I wrote, emotional support from objects is good, but if it's the only support that we have, and when it's gone, then we're kind of like doomed, right?
But the Straw Hats have each other. They're a family.
Well, and I think that's what they were able to like, once Luffy decided that, hey, yes, I love the merry-go and everything, but I have something that I value more, and I think it was like the crew. He kind of like let it move on, because I think he made up his mind once he saw Usopp like being half dead and beat up. He said like, yeah, the merry-go doesn't matter, like my friends or like my crew matters, is what I think he was thinking.
I think, honestly, for that, it felt more like he was obviously regretting everything because he didn't want to fight Usopp.
No, don't talk about the fight. I have thoughts on the fight. We're not on the fight yet.
No, I'm talking about like the aftermath and maybe Luffy's thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Have you noticed that
Oh, no, this.
Luffy has no thoughts? He never has any thought bubbles.
Oh my gosh, genius. Okay. So is it because like is it done on purpose? Because so you can fill in the blank of his thoughts, like why he had like, so you can see yourself in him, like picture yourself in him.
Actually, it's a little bit more deeper because Luffy is the type of person to say what he means. If he wants to do something, he's not going to do it in a roundabout way. He's going to go like, I am going to do this. Even if it's a bad idea. And when he has, like, he'll tell his crew, hey, I want to do this. And then they'll have a discussion. And if they manage to convince him otherwise, then it was probably like a bad idea. Or maybe he should wait a little bit or something like that. Because, like, that's how Luffy is. He is pretty much a wears his heart on his sleeve type person. And that was done completely intentional.
Well, yeah, I can see that happening because it's kind like he is like a character that really has no thoughts until they come out of his mouth. And then they're like, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Basically.
His thoughts are in his mouth.
Yeah.
Which are exiting.
Which is, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Except when it is.
I mean, he does get in trouble a lot when he says he needs to think a little bit before he opens his mouth. I wanted to talk a little bit about how, I don't know, I just wanted to reinforce the idea that if you're an adult and you have a huge collection of geeky, nerdy things, or just a collection of things that make you feel better and that you appreciate and no one else understands, that's okay. It's your emotional support stuff.
And it's weird, but it's okay.
It. Yeah, I mean, just as long as you also have like actual like social support from another person, whether it be a therapist, a priest, a family member, like a friend, anyone else, I think that's good. Like, because we need to have sort of like a toolbox of like different support systems, I guess. So in case one fails, like we're not doomed, right? And it kind of almost...
Find yourself some nakama. Have a lot of straw hats and give them to your best friends.
What? I like zoned out for a bit, so I didn't hear what you said. What?
Nakama.
A nakama?
Yeah.
A what?
It's
What?
crewmate.
A crewmate? Akama?
Nakama.
Oh my gosh. Are you saying it in Japanese?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I was like, bro, I don't even know
Because
if that's
like
a word.
that word doesn't have a,
Like a
literal
translation?
translation in
Oh, I
English. And it means like from friend to best friend to crewmate to like just a real homie.
So
you know what
bro.
I'm saying? Like such a fucking homie that they are willing to ride or die for you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, find yourself a bunch of those. Yeah.
But also, keep in mind, you have to be willing to ride or die for them as well. You can't just expect that from them and not reciprocate because that is bad.
And that kind of leads me to my next point, because I think it's really good to be like ride or die kind of thing, but also you have to like in there has to be like an asterisk, but you also have to take care of yourself, right? And then like the next thing, or like do what's best for your friend. Because I feel like that's what Luffy did for Usopp, because Usopp was kind of like yelling at them like, no, you can't let the merry-go or whatever, like I'll fix it up. And then Luffy was like, you're not the carpenter, like you don't know what you're doing. And I think that's a good sort of boundary to have, because sometimes you, in order to be nakama, you say, is that the word?
Yeah.
Okay, in order to be someone's nakama, you also have to be able to say the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe, I don't know if you've run around, if this quote is...
I do not run.
I don't know if this Zoro quote has made it out yet. I'm not going to say it, but it is regarding... no, I think it's later. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm not going to say it because it's like at the end of it all.
Okay.
It's like post Water 7. So
Oh.
I can't really say it.
But oh, it's after.
Yeah,
Water
yeah,
7.
yeah. It's after like the whole Water 7, Ian's lobby, like all that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, like, that's one of the things that, like, sometimes, like, I think we talked about it a little bit or hinted at on the last episode of this, because I think that's when Zoro was kind of like telling Chopper to like man up, kind of, but like he just did it in a really rough way that I was like, nah, bro, that's not gonna fly for me.
He did it in the way that he knew how to do it.
Yes, I totally understand that, but like, again, like, he's like one of those people that, like, he is your nakama, like, he will tell you, you know, and like, yeah, I can understand like the appeal of him having him as like a favorite character, because he's just kind of like he kind of like, or I understand why he's your favorite character, because he's just kind of like silently in the background, just chilling, doing his own thing. And then if he's needed, he's all like, "What's up, bros? Like, I will beat everyone up right now. No questions asked." You know? And then like if somebody needs like a hit in the face or like tell him to shut up or whatever, like he'll be that person typically. Oh, that kind of leads me to like ask, how old are they? I just kind of know that Luffy's kind of like 18-ish.
I think he's 17 right now.
Luffy's
like, I think at this moment he's 17. Zoro is 19, I want to say. Nami is around Luffy's age. I can't remember specifics.
Are you even a real fan, David? You don't even know their ages.
Chopper's like 6 years old.
Is he?
Or is it 7?
Oh, so cute.
He's a literal child.
Well, I know, but like he doesn't really count.
But he's also
like
a reindeer, so
yeah, he's probably like ancient by now. I don't know how.
Robin is so far the oldest at like 30 something.
She's 30?
I think so.
Dang.
I might be wrong. You know what? Let me just actually look it up.
You heard it here first, you guys. He's not a real fan, because a real fan would know right away.
A real fan would know a lot more things than that, which you don't.
I'm starting to become a real fan, okay?
How old are the Straw Hats? One Piece.
So while David is looking up that, like, I kind of got sidetracked because I just want to talk about
okay. Luffy is 17, Zoro is 19, Nami is 18, and Usopp is 17.
Wait a second. Oh, I can't really see his form from here, but I was like, he said 140 something, but I think he meant it's like a Y afterwards or something. And then
Years.
I was like, yeah, but I was like, wait, why are they 3 numbers? Why are they so old?
Sanji is 19, Chopper is 15. Oh, whoops.
Oh, okay.
Robin is 28, Frankie is 34.
I can kind of see Frankie being that age. I don't know. For some reason, I thought
And
Robin
Vivi
was.
is 16.
I don't know who Vivi is. Oh, the girl.
Oh my god!
You guys.
What a real fan! What a such a real fan!
I have to tell everyone. I'm scared for my life now. David's hand literally went up when I said, "Wait, who's Vivi?" Damn. Okay. If we don't post another podcast soon, please send help.
You can probably feel my Ryatsu from here, huh?
Ryatsu, what's that?
If you know, you know.
Fine. Okay, so I kind of got sidetracked again. But yeah, like you need. What's the word again?
Completely
Nakama.
different anime.
Nakama.
Yeah.
Like that would be there, like setting boundaries, right? Like reminding people of like who they really are, or like, wait, hold on, backtrack. Reminding people to set their own boundaries. It's part of being someone's nakama. It should be.
It is for the Straw Hats, because there are a bunch of moments, and I think Zoro leads those moments sometimes, where he does put his foot down and he goes like, no, we cannot do this. And if you do this, you're gonna fuck up.
I think we actually saw. I can't remember if it's this specific moment or like later on, but Sanji is kind of like getting swept up in like the emotions of everything, and then Zoro's like, "Nah, you need to let Luffy do what Luffy needs to do," kind of thing. Oh no, I'm starting to really like him.
Sanji?
No, Zoro. I was like, no.
Because he's a real one, dog. He's a real one.
Oh man, he would be like a super cool therapist, bro. Just be chill, not really care, and then like when you need to be told, he'll just say it. Anyway, yeah, like you need to do that, and I think like it just already reminds me of like my own like personal life disclosure. This is personal therapy time for me and David now, where like I am the oldest, and I think it happens a lot in like especially when a female is the oldest sibling, where like a lot of the times it is primarily like in females of like, you know, BIPOC or like brown people, where like it. Oh my gosh, hold on.
Did you say BIPOC?
BIPOC. It's the initials. David, just delete all that. Hold on, I'm starting again. This is for future David. This is therapy time for David and I now. But okay, so what happens in families oftentimes is that the older sibling, especially in cultures that are more collectivistic, like the Mexican culture, Asian culture, Asian cultures, is that the older sibling is sort of becomes parentified by the parents, and they're sort of like become a third parent to the younger siblings. And I felt that growing up. And like even now, like as an adult, sometimes David is a real homie, a real nikama, because he will be like, "Yeah, I'm an adult. I can get seconds. Like you don't have to worry about this." But like because I used to doing it like so often, like you know, worrying about you and like our other siblings, that it just automatically happens. And sometimes you're kind of like, "Yeah, no, you're not my parent. Like chill. Like you're just my sister."
There are some times where I have to remind you. It's like, all right, I can eat when I'm hungry. There are some points, sometimes where I do appreciate you reminding me because, again, ADHD makes it hard for me to remember when to eat, especially when I'm hyper-focused. But when I'm not, I will do my own thing, and I hope you understand that. So you don't have to always be stressing about me or my younger brother, because he's 23. I'm 26. No. Yeah, 26 going on to 27. You're like, what, 66?
According to one of the kids that I worked with during therapy, he was like, "You're like 70." So apparently I'm 70 now.
You're no longer 30.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like every time you remind me, I don't know. Maybe you like feel the right moment to like remind me, because it always comes at a moment where like I forget, like to just be a sibling instead of like your parent. But yeah, that's kind of like one example of like, you know, how the lines can be blurred. And I think that's what Usopp was doing. He was basically sort of like blurring the boundaries, where he was trying to take up more positions than he needed to. And I think it happens at work. Okay, so another one, like this is more like a personal one, a personal example of what could happen when like boundaries are blurred. But also it happens at work too, especially if you work in a startup company or a company that has had a lot of layoffs, where like there's this sort of like unspoken expectation that you are going to be doing like the job of 2 or 3 people, and that's not okay. Like you need to set that boundary with your boss and be like, no, I was hired to do this one specific job. Whatever you're describing right now is outside of like the premises of my job, and I can't do that.
Or you can just ask for more pay, and if they go like no, you can go like, well, there's your answer, I suppose.
Yeah, or like overtime, you know, like, but like you have to, I guess, value yourself enough to set those boundaries, because it can happen. Like basically, because the crew was kind of like new to the crew, or they were kind of like, they're basically understaffed because they don't have everyone that they need in their party, basically. Using D&D terms, you guys, because I'm learning D&D now.
They need a shipwright. They still
Wait, what's a shipwright?
Shipwright? It's what Frankie is. The carpenter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he fixes ships, he makes ships, etc. They need a musician, and they also need a helmsman.
What's a helmsman?
The one that drives the ship.
I thought Nami did that.
No. She's a navigator. She knows.
She sets the course.
Yeah, she can set the course, and she knows like all about the weather. But they need a helmsman, someone who is basically expertly able to use
navigate.
Well, not navigate, but like drive the ship itself.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Yeah. Okay, so like in the situation where like it's like understaffed, like a lot of them were doing like the job of like multiple people, and it just so happened that Usopp got very comfortable being the to-go person to fix the ship. And now Luffy was reminding him that, yo bro, we're here to find someone that's gonna take your job. Like I don't want you to like stress out. This is me being like a total therapist and reading way too much into like one scene of this thing, but who cares, I'm still doing it.
Well, that's what it's for.
Yeah, so like I love that scene, and I know you said that I should at least like watch the anime, like that part of the anime, which I'll get to eventually. But I need to finish reading it because I need to know what the freak is going on over in that other island, weirdo ass island. Like there's a conspiracy afoot, David. I need to know.
You're about to find out once you start reading into it. Shit happens.
Oh, okay. Look, you know how? No, it was in this one scene where like I was talking about earlier, where like Sanji was kind of like getting like all emotional too. He's usually like super cool, but he kind of like was getting a little too involved. But he did this one thing too, where Sanji stopped Luffy from kicking him out of the ship. From kicking Usopp out of the ship, like from actually saying the words. I mean, everybody knew that's what he was gonna say, but Sanji again was being a cool bro and was sort of reminding him, "Oh my gosh, hold on, I need to like make a mental note for myself because I want to make this into like
a video."
No, not a video. I want to make a post about this.
Post ideas.
Check it out on my Instagram, Sack for Geeks.
No, but that's the thing about Sanji. He understands the weight of words. Because even if you do not mean certain words in a bad or a malicious way, he has been through a lot to the point where he knows that if you say it, even if you don't mean it maliciously, it's still going to hurt, and it's going to hurt a lot, and it's going to leave a very long-lasting scar. Sanji is like really good at kind of like keeping the crew honest, I guess. At least to themselves and to each other. I don't know if honest is like the best word to use for that.
Yeah, and like that's one of the things too, like saying things out of anger. A lot of the times we say something we really don't mean. Like we're just so angry, like the words come out, right? And like earlier we were just saying that Luffy is like the one person that he like words would just come out of his mouth and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's what I meant." But like in like it's fine in most situations, but this is a very important sort of situation where like words like that are very difficult to get back, right? And sometimes when we're like, let's say you're fighting with your sibling and you're like joking around, and then you're like Mexican like us, and you're just you were raised to insult each other and it's funny, ha ha ha, but then you take it a little bit too far and maybe the sibling doesn't say anything back. Maybe they just kind of like internalize that a little bit. Like that's why we need to be sort of like careful with our words, especially when we are angry, right? So kind of back to just talking about like the manga in general. I feel like I'm reading so fast because again, like now the plot is picking up that I'm really not spending enough time like appreciating the art.
Digesting like everything.
Not even digesting. Well, yeah, yes, for sure, not digesting because I'm like, what's happening next? But also like not spending enough time like appreciating the art. And you know, I think I don't know, who cares? So when we went to Comic-Con, they had like this showing of the artwork for Vinland Saga, and it was like so like I was like freaking blown away that I really wanted to buy the book because the art was so good.
It was like $300.
Yeah, I know, but the art, bro, the art was so good.
Oh,
and then like
absolutely.
I had like
such a good
my ADHD brain like 2 days ago where like I was getting to the good part, like had like this intense moment where like it stopped and it was like appreciate the art for like 2 seconds, and I was like, let me make a note because like I feel like after this I just want to go back and like flip through it and then just be like, yeah, the art is so cool. Like it's just there's so much to it, and I can see why it takes so freaking long and why they're so overworked. Like the mangakas are like so overworked because damn, they like Japanese like freaking, I mean, part of it is like so cool because like their culture really emphasizes like putting out their best work and doing their very best, but also like if any mangaka is listening to this, probably not, but like take care of yourself, man. Like self-care is good. We will wait for you,
Dude,
man.
This man is a fucking workhorse, and for years his entire fan base has been telling him to take it easy.
Yeah, because like, man,
after a certain point
good.
It starts becoming very scary. And here's the thing, he doesn't copy and paste previously done artwork for a flashback. He does brand new artwork for the flashbacks.
Damn, that's like extra work, bro.
because he firmly believes that if you're going to spend money on his product, it better be all nicely done or like fresh and new, and not something that he has already done or like a rehash.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can appreciate the sentiment, but again, don't forget self-care. Like not just for like the mangakas, for like everyone that's like a content creator, like self-care is important. You don't have to, like, don't freaking listen to the algorithm stuff, because they're gonna screw you over regardless of what you do or how you try to follow it. Just try to do your best. Like, try to accumulate like followers, like little by little, you know, that love your content, and then I think you just have a lot more fun too. Because for a time too, I pressure myself a lot to like make videos and like not only videos but like post that I was gonna put on like other social media and stuff, and then it got like really hard and I like hated it for a while, and now I'm kind of like, I just want to put like my best work out there, but I also want to take care of myself at the same time. And so like that has to be like with anything that you do in life, with work, raising your kids, like doing anything, like just being an adult, being a human. Like, just sometimes you need to self-care, like do something for yourself. If it's daily, if you have a daily thing, better. Like, it's better. If you have an exercise routine or like a hobby that you do every day, fantastic. Keep doing that. If you do not, try your very best to schedule some time for yourself.
Now back to Sanji.
Oh, you want to say something?
No, just...
Oh, because like my next quote is Zoro again. I don't...
Damn Skippy it is.
I don't like this, because there was a okay, so like at the time of this recording, we just posted or published the first recording of One Piece on YouTube, and we got a comment of like someone saying that my brother was right, and then I was like, shh, don't tell him, he don't need to know that he's right, but like he don't need to know. and now I'm like, man, I feel like I'm gonna have to eat my words back, because I still really like Sanji, but like Zoro is like, I can see that
Sanji is a cool character, and I appreciate him more than I have ever had before. Mainly because other people that like Sanji have made videos about him and like his story arc and what he goes through and all of these cool and neat things. So I'm like, you know what? That guy is a fucking real G. I appreciate him. I like him now. Or I like him way more, and I can appreciate his character way more.
I'm over here like, yeah, but he could stand to smoke a little less.
It's his character, my dude.
I know, but I'm just over here like trying to like take care of everyone's health. Just smoke a little less, Sanji's fine. Okay, so the next quote, again, we'll do the same as before. I'll read it, and then you tell me what you think, and then I'll say my thoughts. So the quote is, "Excessive kindness just hurts the vanquish even more."
Yeah, okay, I get it. When like, it's really hard to put into words. It is, to me, it sounds like, what does it sound like?
Did you want me to go first this time?
Yes.
Okay, so this was like for people who like are not like me and have read it like a long time ago. This is the what Zoro was telling Chopper when he was trying to help Usopp, because this is after the fight with Luffy. And Usopp was already like really hurt, and Chopper was like, come on, let me just heal him and then we can go away or whatever. And then they were like, no, you can't, like excessive kindness hurts. That's when he said the quote. And to me, I was like, oh, yeah, it's so true. Like, if I think in like situations like that, you have to be, especially when it comes to someone who we're very close to and we want to like be there to help. Sometimes sometimes our idea of helping can cause more harm, and that's when we have to be really aware and of like what we're doing and how we're helping another person. So sometimes it's really hard, like, you know, being supportive, because you have to say things that the person doesn't want to hear, and sometimes you don't know how to help, and that's okay. Even if you want to help and you don't know how to help, ask the person, right? Like, hey, did you want me to keep you company? Did you want advice from me? Did you want just a shoulder to cry on? Did you want me to just to listen to you rant about something? Like, they might need something different, right? And I think that's what Zoro was getting at with this, like, excessive kindness, because sometimes, like, I think we're all experienced or have hopefully one person in our life who has really tried to smother us when we just needed alone time for a little bit, right? And they just, like, there was a really hard time, and it can be difficult for the person that's trying to be supportive to like stop themselves. But I think again, you have to remind yourself of like, what does that person need? How am I really helping that person right now? Are your thoughts gathered now?
For me, it immediately goes to pride. There is a certain level of pride that you have that if you hurt it too much, it becomes something really bad. Because like a person without pride, they just let anyone and everyone walk all over them. So if you hurt like a person's pride a little too much, at that point it's like they have nothing else left, you know?
Well, there has to be a balance, right? Everything's about balance. After The Last
Absolutely.
Airbender, listen to our other episodes. Yeah, so like there has to be sort of like a line, because I think eventually like later on when Frankie's talking to Usopp, Frankie's kind of like telling him basically like, bro, you fucked up. Like you took it a little too far. Like I can understand where you're coming from and all cool and that, but like, nah, son. Like it was on you.
Yeah, Frankie was the reality check that Usopp needed.
Yeah. And
He was kind of like Frankie's kind of like a older brother. Or at least that's
Kinda.
the kind of vibe he gives off.
so I feel like you're hinting at a spoiler. Is he gonna join the crew?
No, it's just the vibe that he gives off.
Is he, David? Is he gonna join the crew? I need to know now.
Can you ever read any of my poker faces?
No. But you kind of like said some things that led me to think that.
Point is
Please,
that
someone tell me.
by the time this airs, no. You will
I
already
would
know.
already-
You will already know whether or not if Iceberg or somebody else joins.
Yeah. So, wait, what were we talking about? Yeah. So just check with the person. If you don't know how to help, that's fine. And it can be like super awkward, especially if you are sort of like trying to improve that relationship with someone by like talking more about like mental health or like emotional stuff, when it hasn't been part of the friendship or the relationship before. It can be really awkward to see someone like just breaking down or crying and you're like, fuck, I don't know what to do, like mind blank. Or like, usually we try to like, well, I don't know, it depends, like everyone's different, but sometimes it's like we try to fix the problem for them, or we try to make a joke, try to make it light. But again, just you don't know what to do. If it's an awkward situation, ask. That can be more appreciated. And if the person that you're trying to support says, I don't know, then just sit with them or offer them options. Be like, hey, these are some of the things that I thought about that we could do. Do you like any? No? Okay, let me know when you need my help. I'm gonna sit here quietly. I'm gonna do this. Just be near that person. Because I remember that there was this one time where like,
Sometimes silent company goes a long way.
yeah. So I was like, a friend of mine lost someone that was close to her, and we were at work when she mentioned it. So I was like, hey, do you want to hang out after this? Like I went grocery shopping with her, and I went to her apartment afterwards just to keep her company for a little bit. Like we didn't talk about it afterwards, but I just kept her company. And then later she was like, oh, I really appreciated it, you like just keeping me company. And like, yeah, sometimes that's all the person needs, right? So yeah, let's see, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, okay, so like the next thing, like I think this is maybe the first time where Luffy seriously had to, or kind of had like a reality check of what it's like to be the captain, because he had to do something that he didn't want to. It was really hard. He knew how, like it was kind of like a step that he needed to take. It was probably good for him, the crew, and Usopp to go through it, but it was probably like, or at least to my knowledge, my crappy memories telling me that this is the first time that he has had this like slap in the face of like, oh, this is what it's like. And again,
Yeah,
Zoro,
this is essentially when Luffy does in fact learn a very valuable lesson. Something that would have like done a lot of harm if he did not learn it.
yeah, and again, it was kind of like Zoro who was like, now you know, right? And then like
Slaps him in the back of the head. Now you understand, right?
nah, but like he was just standing there like, yeah, like silently like agreeing with him. And then like this is kind of like, this got me thinking, because it really is like, I think part of what Soros said was like, if you need to be sort of like a stable person, if you're unstable, the rest of the crew is going to be unstable. So if you're a manager or a boss or a parent or someone who is sort of like in charge of another person or another something, like, that's what it means. Like, you have to be okay before you try to help another person or before you do something, because otherwise the whole thing is going to be like unstable. So I saw this thing, like, the way, like I said earlier, like, words are not really hard. Clearly I have trouble like sometimes like explaining things, and so for me the easiest way to do it is, I probably also part of like how I grew up in my culture, is like giving you an example, right? So I know that there is no names because I totally forgot, but there is a company, I want to say either in Washington or the state or Canada, where like especially like during COVID, the CEO like took like a 75% like pay cut to his pay, so like everyone could still get paid during like the
that was the company called Gravity, I think. It's like a credit card company or something like that. Yeah, it is in the US, and a lot of people were talking mad papas at him because his whole model was taking care of his employees. I think he went from making them $60,000 a year to having a base minimum of $75,000 a year.
Yeah, and I think that's why he took like a massive pay cut. Yeah,
and here's the thing, they willingly took a pay cut during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So like that's what I was trying to get to. Where like before the pandemic, like he took like a pay cut, so everybody got sort of like at least the base minimum
75K.
salary was like 70K, and then during the pandemic, because the company wasn't doing so well, everyone sort of agreed to like a pay cut, and because of that, in sort of like the reduced hours and stuff like that, like the employees are like kind of like really loyal to the company, that they kind of went the extra mile once COVID was done, and then like the company made a lot more money, and then it got distributed to like a lot of people, and
they got like payback from their pay cut previously.
Right, yeah. And then so it works, right? So if you have someone stable, like someone who cares about like what they're actually doing, like you see that. And like now compare that sort of like structure of a company to like McDonald's, right?
Ooh.
Where like a lot of the
industry
times,
and we're still getting paid less than minimum.
Yeah, a lot of the times like the managers are like 16, 17, they have like no training. The owners again have no training. It's like I feel like a lot of industries, if you've been working in a place for a very long time, you just get promoted because you have like the experience or whatever, but the companies don't really bother to train you on how to be a good manager, which should really be like a number one priority, because the more effective everyone is, including down to like the people who's sweeping down the floors or like doing the grunt work, the more the money the company is gonna make. But these people don't understand that. Yeah, rant over. Next thing. Oh, for some reason, every time I read, because Iceberg is the name of is that his first name of the guy?
I don't know, but it is Iceberg.
So everybody kept saying that, right? But in my head, I immediately pictured the Cabbages guy from Avatar. For some, like, every time I read the name, I was just like, cabbages. Like, my brain just jumped to cabbages.
I was gonna say iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce.
Well, yeah, but I don't know, cabbages. Like, they're kind of cousins. It's related. It makes sense in my head, okay, David? But yeah, I don't know. I just thought something might be.
Your ADHD is whack this time.
No, it's not whack. It made sense. Like, I just can't explain the other 10 steps that my brain took to arrive to that logic. But yeah, it all made sense. Oh, okay, so then, like, I think I just took like a long pause, because then I didn't really write any notes. I think I was just like binge reading. And my next thing is like on CP9, the whip guy, he's really cool. Or guy, it's a guy, is it a girl? I don't know who it is, but whoever's holding the whip, pretty cool. Like, it's just, I don't know, like the move, even though like I complain about how it's really hard for me to picture sometimes like the fighting scenes, but that one just like, I don't know, the whip, there's something about a whip, I don't know, like it just really looked cool. And then like now my question to you is, if you were a part of the One Piece universe, what would be your choice of weapon?
Madukes.
Madukes, what are those? Ugh. Really?
I am very
So
uncreative.
basic.
Yeah, that are twin machetes.
That's innovative. Innovative.
No, it's not. But like,
I never seen another character
what would
using
you
two
do?
machetes.
A knife and a whip. Ooh,
No, I'll have 2 daggers like Loki because he's cool, and I want to be cool like that.
you'd get pwned in the first 5 seconds.
Hey, boy, yeah, I know it. Because then, like, as soon as I wrote down the question, I was like, yeah, like, that was, again, my answer was, like, two daggers. And, like, every time I create a new D&D character, that's always my answer, my weapon of choice, two daggers. But, like, if I'm, like, being honest with myself, I'd just be, like, a complete pacifist. I wouldn't actually be a pirate because I don't want to fight. Like, that was the thing. I was like, it would be so cool to be part of the crew and all that, but I'm not really willing to, like, put up with the training regimen that it takes to get there, and I actually don't really want to fight.
Turns
So-
out, kind of lazy. I would not make it into that world, man. I would have
Well,
died
I
like
would just
5
be like
seconds
a-
in.
I'd just be like a peasant somewhere. Not.
But if
Oh,
I was
period.
allowed, shut up. If I was allowed to go with my power fantasy, totally, twin machetes.
Two machetes? Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But have you ever seen
And I'll-
another character
I'll
like
be
use
called
machetes?
Machete.
Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
But that's why I was like, it's innovative because like I don't think I've seen another character use machetes. Like swords, like well, yeah, obviously swords, yeah. Daggers, pointy, throwy things, yeah. But machetes, no. Anyway, even axes. Yeah. Okay, look. My next thing is like shit just got real. We're like, we hit the pot, ladies and gents. That was my guy. Yeah, again, that's when I got hooked. See.
Was that the use? Was that the Usopp fight?
No, it was after the Usopp fight.
Ah,
I think it's no. I got like I was kind of like oh no, because like during the Usopp fight, I was kind of like all right, but then the conspiracy started later, and I was like no, because I think that's when it but I wrote that
CP9
comment.
showed up or something like that.
Yeah, when they showed up, and then when we learned like their identities, I like screamed legitly, and I wanted to come over here, and I think you were working that day, and I was like, dang it! But then I was like, it's good because I can just save it for like the podcast because I was like, oh my gosh!
All right, CP9 government agents. What's going on? What do you think they were there for? Because Robin was a bonus.
Well, what do you mean? They were there for the ship thingy, the thing to make a warship, right?
Yeah, the blueprints for Pluton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What is Pluton?
the ship,
Yeah, but
a warship.
yeah, it's
Yeah. I don't know.
so the blueprints of Pluton is one of 2 bits of Pluton. Pluton is a ship that had been built a long ass time ago, and the funny thing is, it's still around.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it Goldie
Yes.
Rogers' ship?
No.
Oh, lame.
That's
Not
the
interested anymore. Not just kidding.
that's the ship that was built by Frankie's
Master?
Yeah, shipwright teacher. I think they
Sam?
already said
What
that.
was his name again? I forgot his name. But yeah.
Yeah. Pluton is located somewhere else, and you know where it's located if you remember what
Wait, okay.
Robin said in
so hold on.
Alabasta.
Wait a second. So let me just.
Robin knows where it is.
Okay. Yeah, but like, let's backtrack a little bit because so Iceberg was all like trying to like freaking unalive Robin because apparently she was gonna bring like the apocalypse if she awakened the weapons or whatever because she's really interested in the history of the poneglyphs and stuff like that.
She's interested in the history, but not the weapons.
But yeah, but if she's able to read the poneglyphs or whatever, like other people can force her to like find the weapons or whatever the freak. And then so I was kind of like I forgot what the poneglyphs were about again. Like I know it's the like the little
The poneglyphs are the 8. I think the
little sign 9.
Huh?
I don't know how many there are, but it's like the stones that have writing on it, right?
yeah, but they detail the history of the world, specifically the 100 Void Century.
Yes, and
The
then
voice
so
actor.
so what did gold? Because the last one that they found was in Sky Island.
Yeah, Skypia.
Skypia, yeah, and Sky Island is the name of the arc.
Yeah.
Duh, duh, duh.
Hurry up, ho!
Wait, my brain is doing a restart. Yeah, but then there was something about Goldie Roger there. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, Goldie Roger found a way to write on one. And as far as you guys know, the readers who are in this arc at the moment, there is no feasible way of doing that. As far as you know. There are, obviously, they were created a long time ago with ancient techniques, but we don't even know what the techniques were.
It was aliens. It was aliens, you guys.
It could have been. And the funny thing is, aliens are real in One Piece.
Really?
Yes. And Nell is gonna meet some in the cover stories.
Who?
Enel?
Who's Anel?
Eminem with the earlobes.
Huh?
Jesus Christ.
I don't know who that is.
Do you know how Eminem looks like?
Yeah. But I don't know
rapper?
which character you're
Okay,
talking
now
about.
picture Eminem drawn and give him really long earlobes.
No, bro. I legitimately picture like a piece of candy. When you said that, and then I was like, wait, I don't really remember someone, because I was like, oh, maybe it was like the armor that they were wearing was round like that, because one of the Frankie people had like this cauldron looking thing that he was wearing, and then I was like, I don't really remember an Eminem person.
Jesus Christ, woman. Now, do you know who it is?
No.
You are very disappointing. It was Skypia's big villain.
Ah.
Yeah, that Eminem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was one of the very few villains that managed to actually achieve his dream of going to the fucking moon.
Oh, is that where he ended up?
Yeah.
Oh, freak, okay.
That's whack.
Okay, so now that we got that over, like my next thing is like Robin is so cool. Okay, so she's living the life that I've always pictured, sort of like when not always, but I picture as my like 12-year-old self that was thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a big shot archaeologist and discover a new tomb and be super cool and learn all the history. And so she's basically doing that. But now, like, I mean, obviously, like, the stakes of her being an archaeologist in this world are like 100 times way worse.
Super high.
Yeah, I know. And so, like, so I wanted to talk a little bit about sort of, okay, because the whole point of this, like, because she was having the conversation with Iceberg, she was like, yo, I'm not here to destroy the world. I'm not interested in the weapons. I just want to know the history, man. Like, I'm just interested in the history, you know? Like, I'm not doing any of that. But the thing is that I think Iceberg said something along the lines of, like, yeah, but that's dangerous. Like, you knowing how to read. Because is she the only person in the world that can read the poneglyphs?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so her... like, so she's powerful in that way, right? Because the poneglyphs not only tell the history, but also like of
she
major
is a
weapons.
huge threat to the government.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I guess at this point, it's kind of like you could start like, I don't know, an example of our World War III, right?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah,
and she could be by herself one of the major powers to threaten the world.
Yeah.
With all the secret of the weapons and the ancient weapons.
Which, like, freaking sucks. But also, can we talk a little bit about, like, what it would be like in our world if we actually learn the real history of stuff? Because, like, history is always written by the winners. Mm-hmm. And then so...
And then it's
it just so
whitewashed.
happened, like, everything just kind of, like, clicked together. So I was reading this because, like, on one of my breaks from reading... I think it was... I finished reading the arc, and then I was watching these like random YouTube videos that I like to watch about history and stuff, and there was this sort of like point that the YouTuber was talking about, in which I think hold on, let me backtrack.
Every time you say let me backtrack, I'm just gonna cut what's in front of it.
Yeah, please. Okay, so like right now I'm like so excited that my brain is going like a mile a minute and I can't keep up with it, so please, like,
I want to slow it down.
I don't know, like, just keep in mind that I'll just be talking about tangents, but in the end, it will all make sense, probably.
Or maybe not.
Yeah, anyway, so, like, the YouTube video that I was watching, the YouTuber was, like, talking about what kind of history is taught in Japan about World War II, and I was like, ooh, that's interesting, because I didn't know about that, right? And then so basically the government is not actively suppressing the real history of what Japan did, especially to like in China and Korea and like other places. But they're also kind of suppressing it, because even though the government doesn't write the textbooks, they do approve of what textbooks can be taught. And then so any textbook that sort of makes the Japanese look bad, it's kind of like rejected, right? And so compared to how World War II history is taught in Germany, where like everyone's like, yeah, we fucked up, right? And then so I was like, yeah. And then so like I've learned for like a long time that there is like, I think we've kind of seen a little bit of this now because of like social media and just the way that we are able to receive information from like all over the world because of the internet. But there is a lot of sort of information out there about like, you know how lately we've been hearing like, oh, there's this artist that did a bunch of really dumb things or like horrible things, and now like nobody likes them, you know, or everybody's sort of like boycotting their works, or like, you know, nobody wants to hire them anymore because they were like a horrible person. We're hearing a lot more about that, and I'm like, yeah, in history we see that a bunch. Like just the one that comes into mind is just Picasso. Like nobody's saying that his artwork is not good. It's great. I mean, if you're into that kind of art, but he was also a really horrible person, because I think he was just having like relationships with like underage girls, which is a big no-no. And like, so Picasso's one, like a lot of people are like, oh, the founding fathers of America, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of them owned slaves. A lot of them were like just living it up on, you know, white privilege or whatever. And so like a lot of historical figures that were like, oh, they were the greatest or whatever, they were actually really crummy people in real life. And then so like, what would it be like for us to actually know the real history of what happened? And I think
you would end up knowing how terrible America is.
Well, not only that, but I think it's kind of like
current and prior.
Well, I think there's like a lot of movements nowadays where it's being spoken about it, because you and I kind of like got really into like learning more about sort of like our ancestors, and like a lot of people are talking about the effects of colonialism in like different countries and how it's still it's affecting those countries today, right? And I think that's fantastic that we're like, it's coming up. And of course a lot of people are like, oh, that's Indian history, like how does it matter? Because it matters. Unlike earlier, I was just talking about how, you know, mental health wasn't something that was important that is kind of like at the forefront of a lot of Mexican people, like in their mind, because culturally it hasn't been, because it's all being about like just freaking survive, man. Like we were invaded, we were attacked, like we were just being screwed over left and right the whole time. And then so we have no time to think about mental health. But if we go back before colonialism, there is so much wisdom that got lost from our ancestors because of colonialism, because everything got burned down, or because a lot of people, in order to be able to survive, had to leave behind those sort of like cultures, or had to be more I guess European, or become more European, because that was sort of like the way to survive, right? And so like I feel for Robin. That's my that whole like tangent was me trying to say that, man, it sucks to be Robin right now.
Despite how cool she is, God.
No, to me, that makes her even cooler, because she's standing her ground and she's all like, I don't give a fuck. I'm still gonna go and learn the history.
Yeah, and it's like super, like the world government made it super illegal to study the Void Century in any way, shape, or form. And if you can read the poneglyphs, nah, you are like target number one.
Yeah, like it just freaking sucks. Oh, okay. So this note on Robin, I think it was because this note, I wrote it when Iceberg was like, yo, it was Robin. And then Robin was like, yeah, it was me. And then after that, when the CP9 like members were revealed, I was like, oh, what the hell? And I was like, dude, poor Iceberg got backstabbed like 4 times, man. It was 4 times? Yeah, probably 4 times.
Yeah, a lot. Like his right-hand man
his secretary, and then like another guy that he really liked working with.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I like how they were.
Betrayals left, right, and center, dog.
I like how they tried to like sweep it under the rug. They were like, but we were good employees. We took like our work really seriously, even though we were gonna backstab you and kill you anyway. And I'm like,
Despite the fact that we were gonna kill you and take the Pluton blueprints, we still did our job faithfully. Okay, let the record show we did a good job. Just in case we might need you to be someone to call for our resume or something.
You're like, please hire us in the future. Yeah, I don't know. That freaking sucked, man. But like, I just like the next note that I have is that it was just so funny because the crew, because Luffy just like booked it out of there without telling the crew, and then the crew was like and then they were like started booking it after him, and then they encounter like a bunch of like the what are they called, the not the people that were, yeah, basically
we were talking about how good their name is.
No, but
how dare you forget?
Because they have a name. They're not the craftsman. I don't know. Anyway, like they find all of them, and then Zoro was like, we have no time for this," and he just beat all of them.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny because he was just standing there with his sword out, and then Nami and Chopper were like, "What the heck? You beat them all up?" And Zoro was like, "No worries, it was with the back of my sword." And I was like, "You still beat them all."
It's like, no. Here's the thing: they're not dead.
My ADHD brain, like Frankie has been shown and pictured a bunch of times up to this point, right? But this is the first time that I noticed that he had 3 chins.
Dude, that is the first thing that I know. That and his Popeye-like arms.
I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I was not paying attention.
Have they revealed the quirky thing about Frankie?
That he's a robot?
Yeah, he's a cyborg.
He's powered by like soda?
Yeah. He's powered by cola. Let's go.
Okay, so like after I finished reading that, like for some reason I saw a post that was like a fridge that was like him, and then I was like, yo, I think I sent it to you. Did I send it to you on TikTok?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it was on TikTok or Instagram, but I saw it and I was like, oh, it's super cool. And it was funny because the fridge only fit 1 bottle.
I mean, still Frankie though.
But yeah, like, you know how earlier I was like, I'm not appreciating the art enough. Now everyone knows how, like, what I really mean. I just kind of like move on and like I don't notice the little things. Sorry, Oda.
Maybe you should apologize about misspeaking his name.
That too.
And Luffy's name. You'll eventually get it.
know.
You'll eventually get it. I hope.
It's just like my brain and my mouth sometimes not really connected. Okay, so like when you know how like all the strongest men of like Galila or and like the Straw Hat crew, they were fighting the members of the CP9, but then they were like I felt like the whole fight with them was kind of like, you know, when you overhear or you see 2 kids like playing and then they're like, yeah, well, my dad is taller than your dad, right? Because that's basically what he felt. Because like, let's say Luffy like threw a punch and it was like one of his like biggest sort of like, you know, like harmfulest, like strongest thingy like fight, and then they were like, and then the member was like, yeah, well, I avoided it with like my super speed. Right? And then they were like, what happened? And then like somebody does another move and the member of the CP9 was like, yeah, well, I have this awesome ability that you don't have. And I was like, what the heck? It just felt like it was kids attacking like an adult because they were just like so high level, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, no, right now you're introduced to the Rokushiki, or the 6 powers, I think. That's what it's called. And one of the 6 powers is Shave, which is the really fast thing that they do. The other one is Tekai, I think it is, or like Iron Body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they do that mysteriously.
But I think like the point that I was trying to make is that it just felt so fake. Like the member of the CP9 was just like, they were just inventing superpowers out of nowhere. They just pulling things out of their brain.
For me specifically, it felt more like that there is way more to this world than you're even aware of. Because right now they're still in the Grand Line, but they're like
what is it in the beginning half of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it felt more like they were referencing some sort of like older like kung fu move kind of where it was like all about the
Yeah,
mind.
kinda.
Yeah. You know what it reminded me of? That when in JoJo, like the first JoJo, where the magician dude came out and he was like, "Oh, this thing that would
Oh, Zeppeli?
yeah."
Well, he just comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Hey, I am part of the plot. I swear, guys.
Yeah,
Look
he
at this thing that I'm about to show
starts
you."
talking about Hamon, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's real."
Listen, I
And
don't
then
care
he
how
was.
much ham you have, okay?
Anyway,
And then that quickly got sidelined by Stans.
yeah. Oh, because that was the level up, bro. That was just the Hamon was like the introduction.
Not even close. I don't even use it anymore. I
Okay.
don't even think he remembers what Hammond is.
Hamon. Okay, so like this sort of like I started following the I think the Netflix One Piece and also on Instagram and also the creators of One Piece or something, like they're lit. Yeah, and then so like obviously I'm like trying not to get spoilers, but even if I try, like I've been to conventions and I've seen Luffy with like white hair and kind of weird ass eyebrows. I seen it. I don't know what he means or how he gets it or like any of that, right? But I'm kind of like, man, can't wait to get to that point because like now I'm kind of like, yeah, but also
Let's
like
go. She's invested.
oh yeah, it just like the next time, like because Frankie keeps showing up with his sisters and they always like every time he shows up somewhere he's like like with his sisters and they're like
And
in
they're
a
always
pose.
posing
Yeah,
behind
and
him.
then like you know what that reminded me of, like the I forgot the mean girl in Lilo and Stitch, but like her friends that were just in the
You're like,
background went like yeah, and I just picture that and I'm like, oh man, that's just so funny.
They are his hype man.
Basically, why is he always wearing a speedo? Like
Because he's a pervert.
uh
He says so himself, and he's proud to be a pervert.
yeah.
You just don't get it, Lise.
Oh, okay. So kind of like backtracking because then this is when we get to the part where like Frankie is basically just hammering the truth to Usopp that doesn't want to hear it. But then I was like, yo, why didn't Usopp say that he saw the spirit of the merry-go? Why didn't he tell the crew?
Because he thought it was a dream. Remember? He was like still tripping about it because it wasn't fully confirmed until he talks to Frankie about it.
But okay, this is my communication, bro. Okay.
No, wait, he didn't know. You
Wait,
literally didn't
even-
know. He
even-
even I think he states
Okay.
when he's talking to Frankie, he's like, I thought it was a dream.
Right. And even if it was just a dream, I think he would have communicated to the crew how important the merry-go was to Usopp. And I felt the crew would have been like, yeah, bro, we feel you, but still, you know? Like, instead of just immediately going into like thing. Again, people, communication should be the first option, not the second one.
Yeah, but also he tends to lie a lot. So you don't really know if what he says is true or not.
Well, yeah, that's true. But like, I think this is just sort of like a lesson that Usopp needs to learn. He needs to communicate with his crew because otherwise, how the F are they gonna know? Oh yeah, so this is I guess this isn't like a major spoiler or anything, but I just keep noticing that a lot of people, like kind of like side characters, have pets. Is that like a thing that goes on quite often? Or
I think
am
it's just because
tripping?
Oda likes giving people pets. I think that's it. I don't think it's
I just
that deep.
thought he's just so cute. No, I mean like my question was like, does it continue happening? Because I think it's cute, so cute.
I don't think we see pets for like a while.
Aww.
Mainly because of what happens later, which I cannot obviously tell.
Oh man, I just thought because like yeah, I mean I talk about how cute the mice is for Iceberg, and I think he just finds that out randomly, right? And he's like, oh my pet now, and then like he does, like he keeps it, and the mice is like likes Iceberg.
Yeah,
He's
no,
"Aw."
like animals in this world are fucking chill.
yeah, and I was like yeah.
If you can vibe with them, they're gonna be the chillest creatures on earth.
Okay, for some reason in my head, it just made Iceberg like 10 times cooler just because he was walking around with like a tiny little pet. Like, I don't know, he was just like so cool. Okay, so talking about pets, I think I asked you this question before, but if feeding them or space or like anything like that wasn't really an issue, or money or size wasn't an issue, what kind of like sort of like mythical creature would you like to have as a pet?
Ooh.
It's just like mythical or historical or whatever. Like, just be like a dinosaur too if you want.
That's a really hard question. Because there's just so many creatures out there, mythical or otherwise. I think I would like to have like a swarm of one type of creature that can just bodyguard me. You know what I'm saying?
Like little tiny
Just like
creatures.
a pack of hellhounds or something like that. I'm like, hey, yo, if anybody tries to fucks with me, I got hell dogs.
You know,
I got hella dogs. Yeah.
okay, so like when I said like, oh, it could be like a mythical creature or whatever, like not a realistic creature, but then so for some reason in my head, I was like Clifford. And then you said hellhounds, and I was like, oh, that's kind of like on the other end of the spectrum of dogs, or like big dogs.
Mine will drag you to literal hell. Yours is a big red dog.
I've always really liked
wins?
dragons, but I think I would just want kind of like either something like kind of like Mushu, where he's like a swarm of little Mushus, because he's kind of like tiny and really cute, but like squirmy, or like something bigger, but not like extensively big. So just something kind of like toothless, where it's still like it's kind of like human sized, but not like.
It is way bigger than human. Toothless is way bigger than human size.
No, but when he sits, he's like almost as tall as Hiccup though.
He's way taller than Hiccup, even when he sits.
It doesn't matter, like something like toothless. But yeah, I think I would like a dragon.
Yeah.
What would you like?
dragons
I
are
want to
cool.
hear like what other people, because I don't really know all the myth. And I know. Okay, I saw on TikTok. Did you send it to me? Like you sent me
Probably.
this video where like or did I send it to you? Oh, who cares? It was a video, like, you know that we were talking, like, sort of like complaining to each other one day about how there's books and movies about like Greek sort of like gods and stuff like that, but we never really see like good movies about like the Egyptian gods or like the Aztec gods or whatever, you know, like they're not really included.
And when it is Egyptian gods, there's always some kind of curse.
Yeah, but anyway, so there's actually like a whole series. Whoever created the series of Percy Jackson was like, yo, I think it's really cool to have like the history of like reading down of, or like have something similar, like a fantastical thing of like the gods of different cultures, but because he's not familiar with them, he actually partnered up with a bunch of other writers, and there is a massive list where you can get like really good books about
Aztec, Hindu gods.
the Philippines.
Yeah.
Like there was so many of them, and I was like, oh no, I want to be like add to cart.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hi, this is Elizabeth from Psychology for Geeks. Just reminding you that it's good to take breaks, especially if you have ADHD, because sometimes having to squeeze every ounce of energy into doing one task can really sap your energy. So try to take a break and then, get re-energized and come back to the task. Just like David and I did. We took like a 3-day break from recording this, and now we're back. Yay!
And now, back to the video.
So, my next thing here. No. Okay, before I get to my next point, I just want to complain for a little bit about my brother, David.
Golf queen.
Apparently has a job and couldn't fit it into his schedule to finish this recording, and I've been waiting for like 4 days. You know how hard it is to wait for 4 days doing absolutely nothing when I could have been reading the next arc of One Piece?
While sick.
Oh yeah, I did get sick for a few days, but I still could have read when I was feeling better. Yeah. So we'll be. Oh, this is gonna be a long episode, isn't it? Well, it was a pretty long arc, though. It took me a while to start reading.
So far, is it one of the longest ones that you've read so far, or is that taken, as far as you know, by Alabasta?
I think this one felt longer for some reason, but I didn't actually finish. Because, like, okay, in my head, I think I already complained about this, but I'm gonna do it again. Because in my head, you know how, like, the box sets, they say, oh, like, in the little, in the spine of the manga books, it says, "Oh, Water 7," you know. But technically, it goes over like a different arc. Because what's the next arc after this? You said it was Annie's Islands or
Annie's Lobby?
Oh, there.
Or Ian's Lobby. I think it's Annie's Lobby. But I keep seeing it as Ian's. And I'm like, I don't know.
See, like, I just, in my head, this one was the longest one. Oh, no, because, okay, so East Blue, this is according to, like, my little notes here, which I Google real fast. East Blue is, like, about 100 chapters. Arabasta is about another 100 chapters. And Water 7 was like about 150, but it's not, because it includes, like, what's the tiny little one, Long Ring Long Land or something. It, like, Water 7 or the box set for Water 7 includes that one, and includes like part of Skypiea. Like, it's just a big mess, and like now in my head it's everything, like, it's even more complicated. I don't even remember what's happening anymore, because like it's just in my head, I just read what that says Water 7, but it's like a different arc or whatever, and I don't know. David wanted to geek out more, so we're not doing. I thought we were doing it by sagas, but I think we're doing it by arcs now, right? Yeah.
The only saga that we've done so far was East Blue.
Oh. Okay.
After that, it has been pure arc by arc.
All right. Anyway, actually, back to the topic. My notes. So. Oh, I think my note was just like, "Oh, Tom built the ship for Goldie Roger." That was it. I just like, "Oh," I don't know why I was like, I liked him as a character. He was like really nice. He was kind of like, I don't know. He just kind of reminded me of like Santa Claus, because he was just like laughing at stuff, but he was like really strong and like really competent at building shit. At building ships, and like he took in Frankie, who was like a homeless kiddo, probably. I don't know.
Did they reveal his name yet?
Frankie's?
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot it though. Is it
Cuddy
important?
Flam. Isn't that such a weird name? His first name is technically Cuddy.
Okay.
And his last name is Flam.
I think I'm just used to like all of the names being
Just
like super
completely
weird.
desensitized at this
Yeah,
point,
like
yeah.
I don't know. Like a lot of them have super weird names, so at this point I'm kind of like, eh. And I just kind of figured it was some sort of like translation. No? Oh, I don't know. I feel like maybe
That's exactly his name in both English and Japanese.
maybe it has like a different meaning in Japanese. I don't know. Does it? Please let us know in the comments.
Cuddy Flam. It sounds like flan.
Now I'm hungry. Thanks, David.
Like cut flan.
I wonder if he gave that name himself.
No, it was the parents that abandoned him. They gave him the name.
Like, my next note is that I guess I started to notice, maybe I was kind of like paying more attention to the characters or like the drawings themselves, and I was like, I'm pretty sure like a lot of the minor sort of like background characters, or maybe it was just me, but please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the background characters looked like the main characters, but which is like different clothes or like a different hairstyle. And that kind of reminded me of, I think I read a study once where it says that our brains cannot like come up with like new faces. Whatever face we draw, it's like a face that we like subconsciously have seen before. Oh wait, okay. So this is manga. You know how? Are you familiar? You probably are, because you're like an OG nerd. But you've heard the theory where like, wait, is it for manga or is it for anime? Where like the characters are supposed to be drawn in a way where they kind of look like cats?
It is for any of that. Yeah. Somebody did like an actual test, and they took a picture of a cat, reduced its opacity, and kind of like just drew it as a person. And yeah, it's a person that kind of looks like a cat.
I've seen a bunch of TikTok videos of people doing that, and it's like really cool. And then I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like, I don't know how that got started, but I kind of like that idea, because it's cats are cute, one, and you don't have to make it like super realistic, I guess, you know, so you can just have fun with it. It's a different sort of art style. I like that. I dig it. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, did you notice that, or am I just like making things up?
About the everybody looking kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially early on because okay, so you did just say about that study, but at the same time, how much can you fit? Like, how much detail do you need for background characters, especially in a manga, and especially one that comes out as frequent as One Piece does? So at this point, I'm like, I don't mind it. And also, have been here for a couple of years to the point where I don't even notice it anymore at this point. I can notice when it's a main character or like a character that's supposed to be part of the main cast or main story. He does a really good job to change a not perspectives, but he does a really good job in making sure you know who's who when you need to know.
But yes, yeah, the main characters do look like completely different. Obviously, yeah, it's just noticed that one of the background characters look like Zoro and Sanji, but like with different clothes and like a different hairstyle. So I was like, huh, I don't know, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of makes sense that you get tired of like writing like I guess drawing background characters that don't even have a line. They're just kind of like in the background, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I just noticed that. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so I'm gonna go off on another rant because it's so dumb how Tom was getting blamed for like all of the crimes that Goldie Roger committed because he built his ship, and I'm like, it's not his freaking fault, dude. Like, what the heck? Like that? No, that's not how any of this works.
Yes, Spandam sucks. All he was looking for was basically getting not a raise, but a higher position or something like that. Like, fuck that guy.
It's so dumb. It's just like it got me really mad because like even like some of the side characters were like, yeah, this is BS. Like, why? Like, what does that have to do? No, but you know what he reminded me of? Do you remember when we watched what's the name of the show? It was on Netflix. Not Good Omens. What's the other one? The Good Place. You know, like, I don't think you watched that season. I think you watched the first 2 seasons with me, but I'm not the last season. But in the last season, they discovered that guy who like got high and then like somehow figure out how like heaven worked was like a complete mess, and people were like taking advantage of him left and right because he knew if he like messed up on like a little tiny something, he was gonna go to hell, and he didn't want to do that. So he had this whole like filtration system where he wasn't taking anything from the land, where he was giving back, where he was doing what other people said and like being really nice. But like, for example, like the example they gave was like, if you buy like a tomato in the market, but like without you knowing that it came from like child labor, let's just say, and that's already, you're sinning already. So that was kind of like the thing in The Good Place, right? And it kind of reminded me of that. And I was like, is this kind of like a call to that or whatever, where they're like, oh, you saw Goldie Roger from far away and smiled at him? You're guilty. You're going to jail.
And now you see how corrupt the government is. And you haven't even made it to one of their main facilities yet.
Is this kind of like the government just trying to find like a scapegoat? Because, well, but why would the government try to find a scapegoat? They already executed Goldie Roger. Like, why are they trying to do that?
They're not trying to find a scapegoat. It was Spandam that just wanted to get like a promotion or something. So he went out of his way to condemn him, I think.
Wait, are we talking about the guy from CP36 or CP6 or something? I don't know who's the guy? Who's Spandam?
It's the one guy that you want to really, really want to punch in the face. Just think
the magistrate dude. The one. No, but then at the end, because even after he was actually willing to like forgive him for like building the.
No, not the judge.
Who was it then?
It's the guy that set up Frankie.
Yeah. He was like part of like CP6 or something, but then he became the leader of CP9, right? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks ugly. You really want to punch him, and
yeah,
yeah, that guy. He basically just wanted the clout. But no, yeah, I think the original, I think what you said is completely correct, where the government goes like, you did a bad. But part of the system that runs the government isn't as bad as it is in current One Piece, I'm assuming.
But this was like years ago, right? It's probably like even worse now because they didn't really, because Goldie Roger was basically the one that was going against the government, I assume. And now that he's kind of gone, a lot of pirates are trying but not really succeeding. Like they're just not as good as Goldie Roger. And can we just talk about how cool his name is? Goldie Roger. I don't know. Like it's so
his
cool.
name is Gol, Gol.
Oh,
D. Roger.
I thought it was gold. That would have been better.
It was gold until Oda thought it was a cooler idea to also give him the D clan, or the initial of D.
Oh, so this whole time I've been adding an extra D to his name,
Yes.
but it's better. It sounds better in my head.
It does. It rolls off the tongue way better. Gold D. Roger.
Yeah.
But no, it's Gold D. Roger. But here's the thing. His name was censored. They covered up the fact that it wasn't gold, but it was Gold. They got rid of the D as his middle initial.
Oh, so it was just Gold Roger?
No, it was Gold D. Roger. But they, put the D close to his first name, so it's Gold.
Who? The government?
Yeah.
So the government
Censored his name.
to Gold Roger?
Yeah.
Oh. What's the D stand for?
I know, right?
Like, how powerful is the D? Is the D that the government had to censor his name?
The D was too powerful for them.
I had like this like other comment where I was gonna go off like his story, because I think before I started reading this, and I think there was this one time where you and I were driving to San Diego when I was gonna do my interview for grad school.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I think you spent like the whole 5 hours just telling me about One Piece, and of course, like a good ADHD brain, I don't remember anything you said.
Good.
But I think one of the things that I kind of do remember you saying is that it was just kind of like a general statement about, it was when you were going off on one of your rants about how One Piece was way better than Naruto. You said something along the lines of like Oda actually uses like things that are happening now, like in governments and stuff, to kind of like highlight them. And then this is kind of like what it reminded me of. It almost reminded me of like World War II, where like the Jewish community was sort of blamed for something. They were basically used as a scapegoat for the horrible economy of Germany at the time. And then I'm like, and it's not like the only instance. There's like probably like tons everywhere, always like, native indigenous people of the area always get blamed for everything. And usually, especially during the times of like colonialism. Well, and even now in our day, like brown people tend to get blamed for everything, even though it's not really our fault. But yeah. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something? Oh, okay. So that guy that we hate, what was his name again?
Spandam.
Yeah, he's such a horrible character, and I dislike him so much. I don't even remember his name. Actually, I don't remember anyone's name, but okay. I just like, because he came to Tom, right, and he said like, "Yo, give us the plans for the plutonium or whatever."
Pluton.
Pluton, whatever. Plutonium sounds better. And then he was like, "Yeah, or I'm gonna tell the government that you build the ship for Goldie Roger, whatever, Goldie Roger." I'm just gonna say Goldie Roger because it sounds so much better.
Yeah, go ahead. I won't blame you.
And then Tom was like, "Bruh, I already had a trial. They already know. I have a 10-year like lenient, so I can build this thing." And then he just kicked him out, and I was like, he's so dumb. Like, he didn't even know. He went to like threaten someone without all the information, and he was like, I feel like it was extra dumb because the whole town knew about it, but he didn't. So dumb. He deserved
Yeah,
it.
no, that guy's an idiot. And without any research or anything like that, again, he was only doing this for a promotion. That's it.
Yeah, but like my thing is like, how did he become the leader of CP9? That's like, what is it?
By turning in,
What?
he still got Tom in trouble.
Oh, that's
and either way,
true.
he got promoted.
Well, kind of like following along the lines, I was kind of like, you know how he basically used Frankie's inventions to like, whatchamacallits, to like attack the Navy ships and then blame Tom
Yeah.
for it. It was like so dumb. Like, and like nobody ever like did any like research or like they didn't find any clues. They were just kind of like, oh yeah, those boats were Frankie's. All right, yeah, they're at fault. Like they didn't even do any detective work or anything. They were just kind of
Why
like,
would they?
but like I felt like other people, like even
No. Why would they?
I had
The
hopes.
government
I had hopes for
sucks.
I had hopes for the, not the mayor, the what is it, the judge dude, because he was like, yeah, you did good, and he was gonna forgive him. But then like immediately changed his mind with like just one person saying something else, and I was like, bro, come on, like no. And that just kind of like reminded me because I saw a TikTok video of oh no, what's that guy that's like really smart about like space and stuff, and he's always like talking about space?
Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, him. I saw a video with him, and I think he was like with a bunch of other like scientists, and they were like talking about something, and I think he like pretended to be mad and like tried to beat someone up or whatever because of what they said. But in that one, he was just basically saying, I don't really know what the question was, but he's sort of like answering, because he went on of this rant and he was like very passionate about it, talking about how science, the only reason why science was sort of not invented but like promoted or increased or like advanced, there you go, where like science advanced, was because the government was interested in like going to the moon just to like one up Russia, like because it was like during Cold War times, because afterwards like the budget for like NASA got like significantly cut, and like they couldn't do a lot of more research that they would want to, because the government's no longer interested in one-upping anybody else anymore. And I'm like, that's so true, and that's really sad, because like didn't that happen too? Kind of like during COVID, I was trying to focus more on my mental health, so I wasn't listening to a lot of the news that was happening. But one of the things I do remember sort of like hearing was that the scientist kind of already knew that this was going to happen, and they tried to warn people, and they tried to get like a vaccine out, or like try to research a vaccine, but like the government or whoever was in charge wasn't giving them the money to be able to do the research. Otherwise we would have it like way faster. And I'm like, that's true. And then like it's I think when I was reading this, we had just come back from Comic-Con, and everybody was talking about, what was it, what do they call it, Barbie something. It was where it was like the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer. Barbieheimer? It was Barbieheimer. They were talking about it and how like, you know, it was like good, or it was two good movies. And then I was like, yeah, I mean, the Barbie movie, I can understand why a lot of people were like super interested, but the other one is basically just celebrating this guy who like almost in a sense was responsible for the death of like a bunch of people. And I'm like, how not and like, again, that's another example of like why science was further, because the government was trying to like one up people. And then David, like a good ADHD brain person, came to me and was like, what do you think this quote means? And I want to talk about this quote. I am become death, destroyer of worlds. And that's the quote that Oppenheimer said, right? About like when he finished the project. I don't know when he said it, but
it was during the first nuclear testing. He said it right before the bomb went off.
okay. And like I think maybe I haven't seen the movie, I don't know. I've only seen like a couple of like videos on his like biography and stuff like that. But I think the way that I understood it, he was aware of the catastrophe that this could bring about. And yeah, that sucks that science is sort of like very reliant on politics. Like there's no science without politics, and sometimes even without religion, you know, because I mean, the Catholic Church was responsible for hiding like a lot of Galileo Galilei's like research or whatever about like the sun being the center of the universe, because they were like, no, it has to be Earth. Like, it was such a petty reason too. Like, I was like, oh, so dumb. And it just kind of reminds me of how, again, it's just like dumb little things that happen in like One Piece, and then I'm like, oh, that's so dumb. What would ever like anyone ever do that? But then there's so many examples throughout history.
The worst part is that it's still relevant today, despite the fact that this had been written like what, like a long ass time ago.
Well, it started in like 91, 92 or something like that, right?
The manga, I think it was published around 96, because it's as old as I am.
Yeah, but like, I mean, yeah, it is really sad. I mean, a lot of these concepts, he probably like started writing about them because they were very, very relevant to our world, really. And again, that's like another reason why I really like Robin, because she's just trying to get to the bottom of like the history, and obviously there's something going on that the government's trying to hide. Probably, I don't know. The government's just so corrupt. And it makes me mad. But it's not like I can be like, oh, you know, this is a story. This would never happen, as I usually do when I'm reading some sort of fictional story. And now I'm like, yeah, this is currently happening in our world.
Scratch that. 97. That's when the first volume of One Piece came out in 1997. So it's like a year younger than me.
Oh, no, dude. I wrote this quote that says nothing good and nothing bad. I don't know who said it. I think it was Frankie when he was talking to
Robin.
No, actually, no, hold
Tom.
on. It was Tom. Because Frankie was basically saying, I regret building all those boats because they had horrible consequences. And then Tom was like, no, that it's not the boat's fault. It's not your fault. It's evil people's fault that it happened, basically. And that's kind of like, it led me to think about our sort of like societal view of emotions, where there are so many emotions that are good, that we label good, and others that we label bad. But again, they're neither good or bad. They just are. And the more we try to sort of like suppress them or not feel them, the more we do, because that's not how emotions work. But yeah, I just thought it was like a really cool thing, because I was kind of siding with Iceberg on this one, where I was like, yo, Frankie, come on, bro, do you think nobody was gonna like try to steal this boat and do something bad? Come on, bro, like, you're so naive. But also at the same time, it's not really Frankie's fault. Like, he just did it because essentially for
He's
the
an
science.
inventor,
Yeah, for the science.
He just invents. He wanted to see how far he can take it, and he's an engineer.
Yeah, but it's sad. And that's true, but I think a lot of the times we end up either blaming ourselves or taking the blame when other people blame us for the things that we do. Because again, like, kind of like talking back to like Oppenheimer, he was aware of the danger of his creation, and he kind of knew how it was going to be used. But is he really responsible for all of those deaths, or is it the person who set the order to do it, or the person who clicked the button to like release the bombs? Like, you know, there's like a lot. This is a very complicated subject, so maybe we should just move on to something else. But let's go back to emotions. That's an easier topic. Yeah, emotions are neither good nor bad. They just are. And I think when we're feeling anxious, I think I noticed, for me, I keep saying I think, oh, that's so annoying. For me, I noticed that once I start acknowledging that I feel anxious, like sometimes at like random times, I'll be like, hey, David, I'm anxious. And you'll be like, oh, why? And I'm like, I don't know. And then you'll be like, okay. And then like usually you make some sort of joke, and then you make me laugh, and I kind of forget I'm anxious for a little bit. And then like the anxiety doesn't like continue building up. And it's the same thing when like when I'm sad or frustrated about something or stressed. Like just even voicing it to myself, saying, "Oh, I feel sad right now." I don't know, it's just so powerful because I'm just sort of acknowledging what I'm feeling, and that's it. Like I'm not like being like, I guess, judging my emotions, be like, "Oh no, I shouldn't feel like this. Why am I feeling like this again?" I'm not. I just label them. I just say what it is that I'm feeling, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that's how I kind of process my emotions, or that's how I've been, trying to process them, is that I acknowledge them. I try to find the source of it, and if I can't, I just write it out and let it go when it needs to go. Some people have like a hard time just acknowledging the fact that they are sad or depressed or maybe anxious for whatever reason, and that just makes it worse.
And I think it's also true if you have some sort of like behavior that calms you down or whatever, like with ADHD or like autism, there's a lot of like sensory things happening. So if the more you try to pretend it's not frustrating you or it doesn't annoy you, the more it will. Like you become like more overwhelmed, or like the more you stop yourself from doing something. Like, or just like the other day, I don't know if it was in this podcast. No, I think it was the other podcast we were talking about ADHD, where I was like, I just wanted to like lift my hands up in the air and like wiggle them back and forth, and then like I don't know, that made me giggle, and like that got like the energy out of me, and then I was able to like continue focusing. But like just forcing yourself to not hyper focus on something, because I did that for a long time. I like stopped myself from like hyper focusing on something, and like I just got really miserable. Like I think that led to like a complete like mental breakdown that I had over the past few days, because I wasn't allowing myself to do something that I thought was fun because I thought it wasn't a good thing, right? So like I wasn't allowing myself to just be. I was judging myself, right? I was judging my ADHD symptoms
from doing.
A lot of the times it was just from like going down a rabbit hole, and like yeah, and like just like finding a new hobby, because I kept telling myself like, oh, I already have a bunch of like art supplies and stuff, like I shouldn't pick up a new hobby. And because I kept doing that like often, I just lost interest in the materials that I had, so I didn't go back to my new hobbies. I had no hobbies, so it just, I don't know, it got really bad. But again, like a lot of things in our life are neither good or bad, they just are. And I think that is why it's so helpful for us to like pay attention to our emotions and stuff, because yeah, Tom was right. It was neither good nor bad. It's just how it was used. So it's the same thing. Like, so another example that I can give you is kind of like anger. When we're experiencing anger, it's neither good or bad. When it becomes good or bad is what we do with it. So if you become really angry and then you start snapping at people and then you start punching people because they were annoying you, yeah, that's bad, right? But if you just kind of notice it, the anger is neither good or bad. It's just the feeling that you got. I don't know. I ran out of I ran out of steam on this topic. Let's move on to the next one.
Rant over. Next rant.
Oh yeah. Again, I'm gonna go on another rant about communication, because Robin like basically did something bad in order to save the crew, right? In order to avoid the buster call.
Yeah.
But then I was like, why didn't you just tell the crew? Communication, man.
Because of how traumatizing the buster call is. You'll eventually get to know her backstory. It's in Ian's lobby.
Okay, so I kind of forgot what the buster call was. Can you remind me?
They don't explain it. It isn't until later where she has a flashback.
Because I think I got to that point. I did get to the point where they kind of explain what it was, but again, it's been a couple of days, so I don't really remember the details anymore. But yeah, I think because I think they were already on the train when they started talking about like the buster call. I think it's like just everybody dies or something. Is that what it is?
It's an event where the strongest or very powerful people show up and make an island literally and or metaphorically disappear. Anyone that was living in it is no longer alive. and she is a survivor of that.
Oh, is that why she got like what is it, a reward for her head when she was like 7? Oh yeah. My next note is that you know that guy, I think it's the guy with the whip that has a bird, right?
He doesn't have a whip, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So it was so funny because he got into like the train, and then they were like, "Oh, your coat, sir," and they gave him these like massively like ornate coat, and then the bird had one too. It was just so cute. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "I wish Canelo would like let me dress him up," but he's such a dog. Like every time I try to put, because a few times I tried to put him on like a sweater or something, and then he'd just get mad and then go to the room and pout, and then like he will literally do nothing until I take it off. Like he just sit there and like he won't go outside, he won't eat, he won't really do anything.
Putting clothes on to Canelo literally neutralizes him, and it is the funniest thing ever.
It's like putting like straight jacket on him basically. But he just looks so freaking adorable. Like he has this one like blue hoodies sweater, and because my dog has like a tiny head and like a big body, so like that hoodie jacket, like if I put it over his head, he kind of looks like that one guy from Mean Girls who's like, "You don't even go here," and it's so funny, but like he hates it. Oh yeah, I was like still thinking, oh, you know, Sanji's like really cool, but he's so extra when he wrote the message on the freaking wall. Nami, this is for you. It's like a tiny envelope, like huge ass writing. So funny. Oh no. Oh, I guess it's good. It won't be as long as I thought, because before the break I still had like 2 more pages of notes. But David is kind of like running out of steam, so I'm gonna have to like hurry this up.
Yeah, sorry about that, but I literally worked today.
All I hear.
You know what? I'm not gonna apologize. Fuck you. I'm tired.
No, I'm just I wasn't asking for an apology. I was just pointing to people. That's why you weren't as energetic, because the first half of this you were like super into it and we were like having great conversations, and now I'm just kind of like, let me just get through this. Okay, so I think the last few notes that I have are just things that I thought were kind of funny.
Fuck it, it's ball. Fuck it, we ball.
Oh yeah, the other thing was like, dude, the amount of destruction that like Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro cause just gives me my adult self anxiety, because I'm like, poor people have to rebuild their homes, their towns, because these people be fighting. And sometimes for dumb reason.
It's never a dumb reason. It is just a reason that hasn't been found yet, okay?
It's a dumb reason. Oh, and the other one, I was like, yo, like, Nami be wearing heels throughout the whole thing, and she be like running everywhere. I'm like, nah, bro.
And jumping.
Yeah.
And jumping, landing, falling, all of that, tumbling. She can do it all.
She's a legend, bro. For being able to do that, I can like barely stand with heels, and like just be running around with heels and whatnot. Crazy. I think it's just like going with the boy, like being with the boys. I would never even like try to dress up or put on makeup or anything, because I know I'm gonna end up like dusty as hell, because the boys are gonna do something crazy that I told them not to do. So why even bother? Like my clothes are just gonna get dirty and stained, man. Just walking around in like PJs all day.
I'm just gonna blow something up real quick.
Oh, okay. So this is actually one that you might like. Get you a little bit of energy injected into you. And so I just thought it was like really cool how Nami was like, okay, we're leaving, we're getting on this like train, and just give me as much wine and meat as you can find. And then found a bunch, and then they were like, I don't want to do this. And as soon as they were like, oh, wine and meat, and they're like, yay, and they just got all their energy back.
No. I think I remember the scene in the anime where Luffy, I think, is complaining. He's like, hurry up, we don't have any time. What are you even bringing? And then she's like, it's food and booze. And he's like, I am so sorry. You are very much correct in bringing this food.
Yeah, that was like so funny. And then I started thinking about it like, okay, so Zoro needs wine, Luffy needs meat. what do you need in order to feel better? Because I know what I need. I think it's the same thing for us. You go first.
It's to just lay down and zone the fuck out.
No. I'll tell you what it is. It's bread. Bread always makes you feel better.
Okay, yeah, no, that's bread.
It's bread.
We get like some sort of bread toasted, or maybe it's just good on its own, a donut maybe. Who knows, whatever it is, it's gonna be bready, and it's gonna have a lot of carbs.
It's been really hot here, so like nobody really wants to go grocery shopping, including my parents. And then one day they finally did, and then David's like, just make yourself something. My parents went grocery shopping, and I was like, yeah, but all they brought back was bread, like different kinds of bread. And I'm like, this whole family just runs on bread. Like, if bread ever disappeared, we would just like not lose it.
Bread and coffee, bread and coffee.
I do bread and tea because it's way better.
Yeah,
but
same, but you know, everybody else will be coffee.
yeah, but bread is life, you
I
guys.
think our brother stopped drinking coffee, but he still drinks energy drinks.
Yeah,
Which makes me sad
we need to like.
because I have a heart condition, not because he drinks energy drinks. I want to share that hype too.
Anyway, let us know what your like. How do you like? What is the one thing that gets you to revive? And apparently, according to One Piece, like just heal all your wounds.
You know, I remember trying what was it? A couple of different energy drinks, and all they did was make me lazier but faster.
I think it. Do you think it has something to do with your like ADHD?
Absolutely. Caffeine doesn't affect people with ADHD the same way. Like, all it did for me, it made me like jittery and increased my heart rate. But I wasn't really full of energy. I was just kind of jittery and bugging out.
It's just like all the sugar in it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so I want to hear from you. Let us know what revives you when you need it. Oh, and the other thing, I was like, you know that I forgot her name, but the lady in the train conductor lady. Do you remember her? The one with like the granddaughter and the cat.
No, yeah, I can see her in my mind's eye, but I just don't remember her
Okay,
name.
no, that's fine. Because I was like, it was just so funny because you know how they're in that train that like doesn't really work and it goes like at max speed all the time and it doesn't have brakes. It just it doesn't stop. I just thought it was so funny because then everyone was like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool, until they realized like how fast it went. And then the lady's just like drinking wine and like laughing her head off, and I was like, that's goals.
I think it was just called like the Rocket something, or like the Rocket Man or something like that.
I thought it was shark something.
Well, it has the face of a shark, but it was like Rocket something.
I know. I just thought it was like really funny how she was just kind of like, oh yeah, we're all gonna die, and she's just laughing. She's like, I lived a good life, and I was like, yeah, but you're like your granddaughter, dude.
She's like, well, she's coming with me, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
We're about to die at the same time.
Because when they were about to leave, the conductor lady was like, oh, the granddaughter will stay here, but then she saw that the little girl like snuck into the train, and she's still like, oh, you're here too, all right, cool. Like she wasn't even worried, and I was like, y'all gonna die. And she's still like, yeah, that's cool.
If we die, it was our choice, and we chose what we wanted to do.
Oh, yeah, no, it was like the rest of the things is just like funny stuff that I noticed, because then it's like, I'm like, WTF, Luffy and Zoro blasting through the wave. I'm like, no, I don't believe that no more. It's just no.
But you gotta admit, it was really cool. It was kind of hype, where they were like, hey, come here, let's bust through this thing.
I was kind of like, how did they even know it was possible to do that? They were just kind of like, I'm just gonna hit it until it works.
No, it was pretty much they were running on hopes and dreams, and it kind of worked.
If this was like, you know what this reminds me of? Like Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Heart of the Cards. I don't know, but when I was little, when I was young,
that motherfucker was cheating. Okay, we just never saw it. He was cheating. He shuffled the deck in just the right way. He cheated.
Because like whenever I will play, like usually just with you guys, because I don't really have any friends that play Yu-Gi-Oh! And whenever I played, I legitimately thought about the Heart of the parts, and I was like, I'm such a nerd, and I knew it wasn't real, but I was like, gotta try though. What if?
But what if?
Yeah, and so like this just that's basically Sovereign Love is like, but what if? Yeah, we're just gonna do it. You know how? What was I? I think I was reading.
Have you gotten to the part where Zoro splits like a cart,
Huh?
like a train cart, or not yet?
Not yet. I don't
No,
think so.
okay. I really like that part.
Dang it, David! You made me lose my train of thought. I was gonna say something funny, and now I can't remember what it was.
Chugga 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 choo choo.
Okay, so my last comment was where I ended was when Usopp was confronted by Sanji, and Sanji was like, "Yo, we gotta rescue Robin," and then Usopp was like, "Whoa, I'm not part of the crew anymore," and then he like left, but then came back with like a dumb costume, and he's like calling himself what? Sniper King or something.
Hey, wait, hold on. Get your facts straight, okay? Usopp left and asked his friend Sogeking or Sniper King to tag in for him, okay? That is exactly what happened and nothing else. Also, there is this really great bit in the anime where they give him a Sentai style intro, Power Ranger style intro.
where they do like the outfit change.
Well, not the outfit change exactly, but it's the bit where they're just like playing the music, and it's straight up like an intro to Power Rangers where they're just kind of like running, doing whatever, fighting every once in a while, and things are exploding in the background. Yeah, they gave him one of those, and I am like, that is cool. That is really awesome. That anime only, they did that.
So, and I remember I was watching this other anime that was actually like the premise of it was like really cool, and then I kind of like started losing hope for humanity when like the main character, because he kind of was like the reincarnation of like this other person or whatever, who was like super cool, and whenever he used those powers, like he changed into like this really cool outfit. But then towards the end they gave them like the Sailor Moon like change, and I was like, no, that was like so cringe. I was like, I can't do this. No, just no. But I actually wanted to talk about how, I guess, a little bit of the reason why
I found it. We will watch this later.
Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about like the reason why Usopp felt like, quote unquote, having his friend tag in for him as opposed to him himself helping. I think this happens sort of like quite often. You know how depending on the situation or who you're with, your personality kind of changes? And a lot of that has to do with like masking. You're masking your behavior and your sort of like typical like go-to moves or whatever, because you want to blend in, you want to like fit into the group. And then it's part of I guess our genetics. Like, we are social people, so, or social animals. We want to like be a part of the group, so we want to like be able to fit in, and that's why it's sort of like our personality changes a little bit.
Especially for people with ADHD, we tend to just mimic what's around us. I have a buddy of mine who has never been, or he has been, but he was not born, he was not raised, and he was not raised by anyone from the South, yet he still has a bit of a Southern accent sometimes. Why? Simple. Our boss has a Southern accent. And from working with him for a couple of years at this point, almost like, 5 years, he just kind of like picked it up. And then it just goes away. And then it comes back. ADHD.
What do you think it's easier? Usopp saying, yo, I messed up, I want to come back to being part of the crew, I'll help you rescue Robin. Or him saying, I'm not part of the crew anymore, and then quote unquote asking his friend to tag in for him.
For him at the time, considering that the way that he felt, I think it is imposter syndrome. Straight up. he was feeling as if he was not meant to be part of the crew because the people around him were already very cool, very awesome, and could do things that were out of his imagination. Yeah, sure, he can shoot things accurately, but that's all he had to his name, or at least that's what he believes that's all he has to his name. But in reality, he's a really, really dependable person. Because once Luffy tells him to do something, no matter what, no matter how hard it is, no matter the trial or the way that he does it, he gets it done. And he goes out of his way to go even above and beyond sometimes. Like, if you notice that he's always, because he is an overthinker and he's always thinking of like the worst possible case, he's always looking for an exit and an exit strategy every single time.
I think not only was that the way that he was able to survive, but I think that's how the crew was able to survive, because he was constantly thinking of how can we get out of here, which is good. And you're right, it's imposter syndrome a lot of the times, which is kind of like he's trying to fake it until he makes it. And again, this would all have been better if there was more communication between the crew, but it can be difficult. I'm not saying that he was wrong or what he did is like dumb or whatever. There's definitely better ways that he could have gone about it, but it's really hard. It's really hard to say, I'm sorry, I messed up. Like, whether it's be to like with little things, maybe, not so much like, oh, sorry, I thought it was a 5:30 instead of, 6 or whatever, like with friends. But like, if you like have like a big oopsie at work, it's really hard to just own up to it and just say like, I'm sorry. Or like, if you really hurt someone's feelings, like your loved one, and you see how much it affected them, it's really hard sometimes to say I'm sorry. And so oftentimes it's just easier to pretend to not see it or dismiss it.
Shame is such a difficult thing to deal with, especially when when you're a kid, you shame them, or at least that's how parents nowadays, or even back in the day, were taught to teach their kids, by shaming them. And obviously that is not a very good way to raise a kid, because now that they're an adult, shame is such a powerful feeling that it stops somebody from being their best possible person.
Again, it's because part of it is because we have this thing of like, there's good emotions and bad emotions, right? So if we were raised, like you were saying, to apologize sincerely for mistakes, and the consequences were relatively, I guess, mild, or like depending on what age and like what the mistake was, like it would have been different. So let me give you an example. So I was reading a manhwa earlier because I was waiting for David, and I couldn't read One Piece because I couldn't continue until we finished this episode. And anyway, so I was reading this manhwa, and the main character went off to work at this law firm that treated her horribly, and basically she made one minor mistake. It was an entry-level job for her, and she wasn't really told anything or whatever, but she was fired for that minor mistake, right? Which got fixed easily anyway. And then so when she found a job at another law firm, it wasn't a law firm, but she was a lawyer anyway in the other company. She made a mistake by thinking that she had turned in some paperwork to a lady when she didn't. And then so she went back, and then she said like, oh, I'm so sorry, I thought I had handed it to you, but it was actually on my desk. And then her coworker was like, yo, no worries, like it's no big deal, like it's not an urgent matter. And like all the cases that she was asked to work on were things that like, if you made a mistake, it was fine. Like everyone else, sort of like senior level, they could cover for her. And it was such like a different experience but she was like already sort of like in tune, I guess, with the shame of like, oh, if you make a tiny little mistake, you're done for, right? So like her mind immediately went to like, oh no, I'm gonna get fired. Or like whenever she said something slightly rude, it went to like, oh, I'm gonna get fired. And that's kind of how it is for a lot of us. Like one of the TikTok videos that I really like is sometimes when people are like, hey, do you ever feel like if you're gonna go out and have fun, do you ever feel like you have to like do chores around the house before you go outside. Otherwise, you feel like, you did something bad. It's because a lot of the times our parents were like, well, if you want to go outside first, you need to do like clean your room, or first you need to do this. And then so taking time for ourselves or having fun was only if you have completed this one task, right? And yeah, it's we place so much emphasis on negative emotions that anytime somebody experiences them, it's such a bad thing for them to experience. So it's really hard for us to acknowledge. And I think the more comfortable you are with your emotions, identifying them, talking about them, the easier it becomes. But the whole process, like getting there, it's really hard. Even if you're talking to like a safe person, even saying I'm sorry to someone who has never really judged you or is there for you and supports you, it's really hard thing to do. And even though like Usopp and the crew had like probably like a super strong connection, because once you go through one life or death experience, you bond for life, and they've been through a whole bunch at this point, so their bond is like super strong. So it's even
and
more
it's not
difficult.
gonna stop anytime soon, baby.
Yeah, but it's even more difficult for him to be able to say, I'm sorry,
Especially when he feels that him and Mary are basically mirrors of each other. And as soon as they didn't need Mary, well, how long is it gonna be until they no longer need him?
Well, yeah, that was like he was internalizing all these things, and that kind of like, I think we talked about his sort of like low self-esteem and low belief in himself, same thing, in the previous episode. But yeah, that's what happens. Like he wasn't completely sure of his like spot with the crew, so as soon as something significant to his point of view was like just immediately dismissed, he said like, oh, how long is it gonna be before they dismiss me? But like it's so weird, because if you were to have asked him, yo, do you think that Nami isn't like on par with them? Like, do you think she will also get dismissed at one point? He probably would have been like, no, she's like really good. She's a good navigator. We need her, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but why don't you think that of yourself? Like, you also have like a bunch of qualities, because Nami can't really fight either. Like, she can barely, at this point, she can barely defend herself, like keep herself safe. She's always depending on everyone else. But she's very sure of like the skills that she brings to the crew, and that's what is so difficult for Usopp, because he's not sure of the skills that he brings to it. So everything is sort of like on very shaky ground. He doesn't have a good foundation, so everything, how earlier in the episode we talked about if you have a really bad boss, it kind of trickles down the company, where like if it's an unstable boss, so is everyone else in the company. It's like the same thing. He doesn't have like a good foundation for himself, for his self-esteem, for his belief in the things, in his own capabilities. So everything he does is kind of like always shaky. That's why he's always looking for a way out. That's why he's always trying to avoid fighting and like doing all these things, because he thinks, I'm not going to be able to do it, so maybe we shouldn't really try.
And this is why I kind of like Usopp as one of my top like 5 One Piece characters in general.
Oh, name them. Do you have them like ranked?
Here's the thing. Some of them are spoilers.
Oh.
So I can't really say
Well, can you rank the crew?
Yeah.
The current crew?
Yeah,
rank
the current crew in no particular order.
No. Rank them.
Okay, I'll rank them. So top, Zoro, number 1. I really like him. He's the second hand to the captain, and as he believes it, and as the rest of the crew believe it, the second hand to the Pirate King. After that, I want to say Luffy, because he is such a solid character. He is really fun to watch, funny as fuck. And every time he kind of like sets his mind to it, it's very inspiring for me. And the third one, current crew, it would be Usopp. Because despite his fear, he still goes through it. And that, my friend, is the definition of bravery. Because
Yes.
After that, number 4 would probably have to do... It'd probably be between Sanji or Nami. Because Nami is a great character in that She is always looking out for the crew, both money-wise, and she is the navigator. She is the one that clears the way for them, metaphorically speaking. Or navigationally speaking? Whatever. And Sanji feeds them. I like food. I am fat and a Mexican. So that is speaking to my heart right there. But also, he is such an interesting character because he is similar to Usopp in the way that he would put the rest of the crew above himself, even if it meant like his dream dying. The last one would probably be, well, Chopper, because, you know, he's kind of like the last one. Although, like...
Because you kind of forgot he was part of the crew.
No, it's not that I forgot that he was part of the crew. It has to do more with... I enjoy his character. I enjoy his character right now. But later on... I don't really want to spoil it. So, later on, his character does evolve. Not to a place where I personally would prefer him. Again, this is just pure personal preference. Like flavor of ice cream. Which one's your favorite kind of situation?
All right. So I'll go through mine because I wrote them down. And I feel like it will be fun for us to rank them again later in a few... Well, Robin, I don't know if you consider her part of the crew at this moment, since she kind of is, kind of not. But I think I'm still holding out. So I recorded a podcast for Tales of a Fandom. So please go check it out. And I talked about One Piece and sort of like my experience starting it and like, you know, my excitement for the live action one. And they asked me about my favorite character, and I was like, oh, this is hard because like I really like Sanji, but I keep writing Zoro's quotes, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of coming around to it, and I'm kind of like, oh no. So I'm like, my sort of like ranking is still like very, very shaky. So I have, again, Sanji will be at the top, Zoro will be a really, really close second, and then Chopper, because he's just so freaking cute, and he's all about healing, and like, I don't know, I just identify with him, and he's just so cute. He's just adorable. I want a stuffed animal so bad. And then everyone else is like on the same sort of ranking, because I haven't really like seen much of it. Like, I don't really know much of like Robin's backstory. Like, I can identify with her because she's like an archaeologist and she's actually really cool. But I don't know, it's kind of like she's like a cool character, but still haven't made it like into my heart quite yet. You know, Luffy's really cool, Usopp, Nami, yeah, they're really cool. They have really cool moments, but I haven't been able to form, I guess, that connection with them quite yet. So yeah, that's my ranking for them. I think we should do another ranking in like another saga or two when they have probably more crew members and I know a little bit more about the crew and stuff. So I'm hoping Ian's Lobby is not that many chapters so we can just so I can finish reading, get some answers.
Trust you will finish it very decently fast.
Yeah, I'm like so excited. Now that we finished this, I can go back to reading. This is like the first time that I'm kind of like, yes, I need to keep reading this, man. And like, I'm actually forcing David to like record this, even though I know he's probably not adding his like hypest. But I'm like, bro, I don't care. Like, just sit next to me and, you know, put in a word every now and then. We need to finish this. So I keep reading. Yeah, so that was all my notes because I kind of stopped reading because David said that's kind of like the end of Water 7. So I hope you enjoyed that. You let us know, like, I think I asked a couple of questions and I kind of forgot now. But like, please answer our questions. Geek out, let us know what's going on with y'all and your thoughts on this arc. And yeah, that's the end.
I have but one question to ask you. What is your least favorite foot?
Foot. Food or fruit?
F-O-O-T.
Why?
Just 'cause. That's it.
You want people to answer that question?
Yeah, mine is the left foot. I don't really like it. I prefer my right foot.
Because you drive with that one?
No, because I'm right-handed.
Okay. Anyways, moving on, ending this really fast because it got weird. Yeah, so check out some of the other videos if you haven't. We also, have a bunch of other topics that we talk about. Also, geeky topics. And because I am part of this, it also has to do with mental health, and I try to do it in like in a fun way, so it's not like super boring. I was just sitting here like on my soapbox, like lecturing everyone about self-care and whatnot. Anyway, yeah, check out some of the other videos, and give us a like and a follow. Share this with other people so we can.
Why are you making the outro longer than it has to be?
I don't know, because I want to I had okay, so at the point of this recording we had released one video, right, of One Piece, and I actually got to geek out with people, and I really enjoy that, because otherwise I'm just geeking out with you, and which is fine. I enjoy that, but I also want to geek out with other people, and none of my friends have read One Piece or seen it or whatever, so I'm kind of like, please, I want to geek out, like make this group wider so we can all geek out together about it. Yeah, so share, like, whatever. Yeah, if you want more information about who we are, what we do, you can always go to our website, psychologyforgeeks.com, or check us out on my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at psych 4 geeks. And yeah, don't forget to reframe and reenchant your life.